track on before practice?
Negative.
In the long history of Indianapolis traditions, the sprint car was part of the heartbeat of the 500. In the golden era of Indianapolis, the sprint car was a man's ticket to the world's greatest motor race. Indianapolis champions were a mainstay in sprint car competition, and before the birth of the Roadster, the big cars of the day resembled what was essentially an overgrown sprint car. As the sprint car connection to Indianapolis began to fade, the Night Before Classic at the historic Raceway Park helped keep it alive. Indianapolis drivers making the trek down the road to Brownsburg to race a sprint car was commonplace on the night before the world's greatest motor race. The night before was one of the biggest sprint car races in the world, but ultimately even saw itself fade away as many drivers opt to go compete in the Little 500 at Anderson. But tonight, we try to revive this great race. As a salute to the rich history and tradition of the night before the 500, we bring back this race so fondly remembered, just as IRP attempts to do this year. In what has become one of the biggest pavement sprint car racing events on iRacing in years, these men try to showcase the sheer excitement the pavement sprint car has to offer. And we couldn't be happier for them to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, take a seat, because they have big hearts and a whole lot of horsepower, brave souls with the will to win. They are the local heroes, and they shine here tonight. The night before the 500 is open.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are live for the
Epperson Painting Incorporated night before the 500. I am very, very excited to get this thing off and rolling. We are going to be calling it IRP all night. This is Indianapolis Raceway Park, not that other place they've renamed it. But big, big thank you to Epperson Painting for coming on board and being the title sponsor of the Epperson Painting night before the 500. And in the booth with me, we have Mr. Baden Stewart. How are you, sir?
Hello. Pretty good. Ready to watch some night before the 500 action tonight.
And we've also got world famous KR Stolfus in the booth with us as well. So, how are you doing today, KR?
Oh man, I am thrilled and excited to be here representing the Turn 3 Racing Network on that side of things of this simulcast that we're putting on here tonight.
Yeah, pretty excited about that. KR helped us out over Bump Day last week. Had a good enough time. Wanted to come back and do some more, and figured we'll try to get some more eyes on this thing. So we're also over at Turn 3 Racing Network over on YouTube as well. So a lot of places you can watch tonight. Pick one. We are all open. So we're appreciative for everybody coming on out. What a night we had last night.
Yeah.
Mike Rasmus took the win, and if you guys missed it in the Crescent Donut Patriot 100, took that by 1,000th of a second over Mr. Anthony Job. His cars are filing into the racing server now. We had 50 on tap. We'll see how many we do actually get this evening. We should be pretty close to there. We're going to get practice opened up here in just a few minutes, and we should have a pretty good night of racing. Pretty cool format tonight. Something you don't see a lot in the pavement sprint cars, which Turn 3 does broadcast the pavement sprint car races as well. The official series that they run, the top split deal, which is a lot of fun to run anyway. But they pretty much just run practice, qualifying, and a feature. Tonight we're doing potentially 5 heat races, 10 laps apiece. Top 4 go to the A main, and then we're going to have multiple features throughout. So we're going to have a D, potentially, more than likely a C, a B, and a feature. But we'll keep you posted on that as we get the official count of the amount of cars that are in the server this evening. But should be an interesting night. 75 laps for the main event. So really looking forward to that. These guys don't usually run that long of races. And they're
Billy,
harping at the bit, and they want longer ones. So here we are.
I can tell you, as a fan of the pavement sprint car, spend a lot of time in these bad boys. 75 laps is right at the limit of the fuel cells. We may even see someone who is heavy on the throttle. If this thing goes green the entire way, we may see somebody run out of fuel.
That is a possibility.
Normally
you'd run a 50 lapper here.
Well,
yeah, it's 50 to 60. iRacing official, I believe, is 65 laps. I'm sure that's entirely wrong. But yeah, it's one of the longer races for the iRacing official series of the pavement sprint car when we come to IRP, but it is such a fast track, and the drivers just love killing it out here, lap after lap. And so we come out here, but I'm not 100% sure, but I think the max they can go is about 80 some laps on fuel, 82. But you throw a driver who is really very heavy lead footed, let's say, and he may end up running out of fuel.
Well, and in the official series, caution laps count. Here we're doing this sprint car style. Caution laps do not count, so it is going to be 75 green flag laps on the program tonight. So we've got a good night of racing ahead of us. Starting off in the daytime, it's going to get dark. Track's going to start changing. Weather here not as consistent as or not. I guess the correct word is not as weather sensitive is the pavement sprint car. But 73 degrees air temp, 79 degrees track temp. So pretty standard weather. Naturally, the car that really is the car that doesn't matter about wind at all. Here we are with no wind. We've had the cars that really are fidgety as soon as the wind gets over 5 to 6 miles an hour. We've had it blowing 15 or 20 miles an hour. So Indianapolis weather has been kind of finicky over the last week. So, but we should be in for a pretty good race. We've got a lot of big names in here that run the pavement sprint car a lot. Alex Oriens is in here. Brad Ringer. James Tiernan, been super fast. Dan Smith, we were talking before we came on air. Baden remembers Dan from running the Hillbilly Gorilla. Yeah, the
JSRL days. The man was unbeatable. I mean, you knew if you loaded in, everybody was running for second, and they knew it. He was just that fast. It was insane.
Dan Smith did pick up the iRacing official pavement sprint car championship, overall championship in the last season of the iRacing series. So he, I believe that's his first one too. So he was excited about that. I got to talk to him about it, and I know Dan is very thrilled to be out here. But what about my buddy Alex? Don't call me Oreo, KR Oriens. That guy, he's got a shot out here tonight. And we'll see who is going to walk away with it. But I called a race with James Tiernan in it last Wednesday night. And the drivers of the league put a bounty on his head. He started 22nd and won the race.
Yeah, he's kind of an animal. These cars, you've driven them a lot. Baden's driven. All three of us have really driven these cars a lot. They're very, very finicky. They're I would say, truthfully, if you're on the throttle a lot, they're a very loose race car. That, I think, is an understatement.
We're going to go snappy. We're going to call that snappy.
Very snappy loose. And James is one of these weirdos that every single time he's on the racetrack, it's, hey, how do I free this thing up? How do I get it loose? How do I make it freer? So James is definitely going to be one to watch for tonight. Another guy, Ryan Sellers, is another one that runs the official series. He's also on the part of the Dan Smith team, DRR Racing. Or DRR Speedworks, excuse me. They are exceptionally fast. They're I think you're two guys to really beat tonight. To keep an eye on. A guy that I'm excited to watch because he's running a paint scheme that is, if you've watched USAC races from mid 2003, 2004 through late 2007 or 2008, you'll probably recognize it, the 14J of Mark Jessup. So pretty cool that Mark's been doing this iRacing thing for a while now, and first time we're gonna get to see him running the pavement sprint cars. So really happy to see that. But we've got a lot of dirt guys too, Mason Hannigan and John Batista from the Black Diamond stable. So they're gonna be. John's good in just about everything, so expect good things out of him. The man of the week, I would say, for mainly his mouth. AJ Job is also in the field in the server. What did he call himself? Billy Bowerman, the old man of the field. He's also running this tonight.
Self-proclaimed old man of the field.
Yeah, self-proclaimed old man of the field. Him and Billy Brickley in the house. So got a good field of cars. Mark Broderick is here. He showed me his paint scheme earlier. I'm going to save it for the broadcast. I think you're really going to like it. Especially with all things considered, what we got going on for tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we're looking forward to it. We should have a pretty good car count. We'll get rolling to practice here pretty soon. I know we've got just basically letting everybody get into the server, so we're not going to have a ton of practice time tonight. And then we'll go into single car qualifying, which is also another unique aspect to this that a lot of guys don't get to do it very often. Every once in a while on the dirt we get to do it, but not so much on the pavement. So it'll be kind of like a little bit quicker of a session than what we had obviously for pole day and bump day. But single car qualifying is definitely going to be on tap tonight, so we're looking forward to that as well.
Well, Billy, I don't want to, toot your own horn or anything, but we do have a person watching wishing they had joined this race here tonight.
Yeah, I noticed that.
I don't know if anyone would recognize that name or not.
I know he recognized Jack Hewitt's name earlier, and that made me happy.
I'll tell you what, if Landon Castle can recognize Jack Hewitt's name, I'll tell you what, I am going to find a new favorite driver to cheer for.
I already have. I made him. I told him on Twitter the other day if he won the Busch race last night, I was going to give him $75 worth of bits because he's doing a promotion with Blue Emu, basically to get him in a ride, which he definitely deserves. So, ended up paying up my debt to society last night with Landon, so that was cool. As they were practicing for the fake 500, so we're looking forward to it. And Landon Castle actually races real race cars, not just cartoons.
Well, taxi cabs.
It's really cool though, and I imagine you're going to see a lot of the iRacing crew are probably going to be buying Landon Castle shirts, and that just proves exactly what I tweeted earlier. It's a good way to connect with fans, and if anybody is demonstrating that, it is Landon Castle. I mean, it baffles me. The man is going to get a push ride solely through Twitch donations. It's insane.
And we are calling it the Busch Series because we're also at Indianapolis Raceway Park, not that other track that bought the naming rights to it.
Yeah, we're not. We've corporate shilled for 2 weeks, and we're stopping it right here.
Yeah,
this is where we're done.
Midgets have never also ran inside of the RCA Dome. They've also always ran at the Hoosier Dome. So same kind of thing. It looks like we're getting ready to roll with practice here, as we will get to some racing action here.
That Jessup car looks so good. Oh, that makes me happy.
Oh, I'm extremely thrilled to see that car. It makes me feel good in my soul that we're seeing Mark Jessup out on the racetrack. So
I'm hoping that everybody watching.
Yeah, we'll switch over here to the other servers. We gotta go back and forth a little bit with the way that the practice stuff sets up.
Yeah, iRacing does have 4 groups out on track for this practice session. So, as Billy clicks between drivers, you may see a bit of a pause, bit of a stutter, but that's just kind of the way that iRacing has this thing built. So no big deal. And you do have to kind of poke your way around to get a good look at all these cars out here, Billy. So make sure you do try and get into each group, because I've already poked through some of these, and man, each and every single one of these sprint cars looks on point here tonight.
Absolutely, one of my favorites, and we were talking about him early, the Dan Smith, actually second quick in practice right now, so there's a shocker. We talked about really 5, 6, 7 guys in that, and as of right now, your top 10 on speed: James Tiernan, Dan Smith, Alex Orions, Jeffrey Stanton, Ryan Sellers, and Mark Jessup. So I mean, and there's guys that we didn't get a chance to talk about yet. Tommy Corcoran has been putting a lot of time in. Brad Ringer runs these a lot, so he's going to be pretty good. Him and Justin Carey. A lot of guys, still looks like we still got more coming in this server. Looks like we're going to have right around 35, which is a good solid number for the pavement sprint car. A guy we haven't seen all week, but we heard from him during practice. Braden Eiler, World of Outlaw sprint car winner. So he is trying his hand at some pavement, which is kind of cool. Good to see some crossover out of the World of Outlaw Pro drivers. So good to have him here as well.
Shane Haas, he's rolling around here with Salem Speedway on the side of the car, and you know me, that kind of gets me excited.
Well, I mean, that's definitely important as we take a look here from some of the different camera angles that we've got tonight. So Zane was gracious enough to build some camera packs. So, but yeah, we've got a lot on tap tonight. We've got some hard charger awards. We've actually got a front row challenge worth $25 if the front row, which is basically going to be the way that these heats line up, is your fast qualifier starts pole in heat 1, second fast time starts pole heat 2. So it's going to be pretty cool to see, those two guys. Then they've got an option. If they want to go to the rear, they are more than welcome to go to the rear. You got 75 laps to come to the front. If they win, they got an extra $25 in their pocket, along with normal purse. And if they decline that option, we've got a couple other rewards there too. So for a hard charger and things like that. So pretty solid. This race actually has a pretty decent payout. We haven't seen the pavement sprint cars run for money very much at all. Kara, you've been on the service longer than I have. Can you remember the last time pavement sprint cars paid any money?
J-Skins Racing League, which is where I really got my start in broadcasting, was doing some of the pavement sprint car races put on by J-Skins Racing League. And I cannot recall if that league paid out money or not, but they had such a huge following. Yeah, I don't think it did either, but there were so many cars out that would show up every single week that very easily they could have had money. But yeah, and I'm not, knocking anything when I said very easily. All I'm just saying is the amount of people who are passionate about this pavement sprint car, even though it is kind of a overlooked, maybe a underappreciated car, the drivers in this iRacing service love this car, and they will go out on a limb to do anything to get it some attention.
See, the JSRL days, those were super cool, and you would have massive turnouts of guys running it, and they didn't care about money. It was just guys wanted a chance to race the car, because through official, there was no chance. It just was not going to happen. And I remember when dirt came out and JSRL kind of died off a little bit because everybody went to running dirt. But man, that was such a good series. They'd weigh the car down, make them basically a 360, so they were like champ cars. Oh, it was so cool. That was just always really awesome. That was, I think, the first I ever joined.
Well, and for those that aren't aware, the pavement sprint car has been around on iRacing for a long, long, long time. One of the oldest cars in the sim, and they've got a very like they were talking about. They've got a very, very niche community, but they're extremely welcoming.
Absolutely.
Jeffrey Stanton is one of those guys that when he gets into the server, the first thing he's doing is helping guys out, getting them going. So we take a look at the 13 to Tyler Kendall, the Gene Nolan tribute car. So good luck to Tyler tonight as well. But he's always putting servers or putting setups into the server so that way people can go in and learn the car. And they want people to be running this car. It's not they're not an elitist group that wants just their buddies to run. No. They want it to be full fields every night and grow. So what they do is they've basically set up what they call in iRacing terms SOF nights, strength of fields nights. So basically, the Tuesday evening races and the Thursday evening races, and now also on Sundays too. So if you want to run the pavement sprint car, for the first time and you want to give it a shot, that's the best way to do it right there. So,
Oh, absolutely. I can tell you, when I first got iRacing and I saw that the sprint car was a car available back in 2014, my goal was to get the license required to race in this car. And I got to that license in a hurry. I sacrificed a whole lot of iRating to do it. I drove around at the back of almost every single race for a couple days. And as soon as I got my license, I bought the car, went out to a practice, and I kid you not, the very first time I'm out there, they're like, "Is this your first time?" "Yes, it is. Here's a setup. Merry Christmas."
Yeah, and they're extremely, extremely welcoming, and a good group of guys too. They're a lot of fun to race with. Just everybody drives clean, but they drive extremely hard. So it's these cars they're an animal to drive. I mean, you look at down the end of the straightaway, they're running 130, 140 miles an hour, but at the same time, you're half to three-quarter throttle. You are rarely wide open in the pavement sprint car, especially on a 5/8 mile like we're at IRP.
I will say, IRP Bristol is about the only two tracks I can think of where you can actually get to full throttle, but it is very briefly.
Yeah, it is. You know,
Not if you do it right.
Well,
if you launch it into outer space, maybe.
but
Watch.
well, so man, we do got a lot of great action coming up. We're looking at 40 seconds left of warm up, and then we're going to go into qualifying. And we have been talking about the car a lot, but Billy, I don't want to distract from the fact that these guys are getting ready to put on what I am calling probably one of the biggest events that iRacing doesn't know about.
You know, that's probably extremely accurate as practice goes. Checkered flag. So we are getting ready to roll out for qualifying here, as Zane is getting the lineups and everything proper, so that way we can see who is first out onto the racing surface. And it looks like Skylar Brown, and it actually already ordered it for me. What a day. What a day. So getting ready to go for qualifying. But yeah, this is going to be a good night. This is going to be a really good night. Track's going to be changing from getting light to dark, which a lot of these guys don't run this car in light, especially around IRP. So I think every time I ran some test laps before we got started, and it looked extremely weird seeing it in daylight. So going to be a different challenge, a little bit different reference points and things like that. Can't wait to get going.
Here's my question for you guys, since you've probably ran this car more recently than I have. I kind of quit running it on IRP because I couldn't find enough Adderall to make the thing good. Is it still where the car is like really, really tight getting in the corner or loose off, or free getting in and tight off? Are you still fighting that with this thing?
Not really.
Not when you drive it, right?
Yeah,
well,
you kind of have to manhandle the car, but you also have to baby it at the same time. It's a very fine line of being ultra aggressive and ultra smooth. You definitely don't want to overdrive it. If you overdrive it, you're going to lose a ton of time.
I remember back in the day, though, that's how it was. The thing was super tight getting in the corner, and it'd be free off. And I remember just changing constantly, making changes, and I could never get the thing happy. And you know how I am, Billy. I get kind of borderline ridiculous on making the thing drive good. And it drove me nuts. It's just a challenge, but it's what makes it cool. It's what makes it so cool.
I'll tell you, it's a perfect car to get your elbows up.
It is.
Oh yeah,
I like the pun. That's a great. That's how you know you're good.
I'm here for the jokes, people. I'm here for the jokes. But the 71 of Skylar Brown out for his qualifying lap. His first one is a 20.007. Brown was fast in practice, and Skylar Brown has been known to run these a time or two. He has been in that league I've been doing on Wednesday night over on Turn 3 Racing Network, the Madness in May series. And Skylar Brown constantly finishing in the top 3 when we come to the pavement sprint car.
Yeah, lays down a lap, and Tommy Corcoran lays his lap down 20.002 miles or seconds. See, we're over at Indianapolis. We got to get out of that mile-an-hour range. But as of right now, Tommy Corcoran 20.002, Skylar Brown 20.007 is your... And we've got this here to where we can actually show times. Actually, Tommy Corcoran runs even a little bit quicker there, 19.972.
I think we're going to see with it being daytime, I'm not 100% sure, but I would not be surprised if we saw a 19.7, maybe even a 19.6 for qualifying.
Yeah, it's going to be, I think, we're extremely close. Jacob Gordon now, son of actually 9-time Little 500 champion. So his dad's got some definite heritage of running the day before the 500, just over at a little bit different racetrack. But he's won that race 9 times. So Jacob Gordon is third on the field right now to 20.078. And you'll see more of these scrolling across the top as you're mainly seeing the order right now. John Steed now on the racetrack in the Bobolink Liquors car.
Yeah, again, John Steed, one of those guys that was out on the track with our Wednesday night broadcast. His race didn't go quite the way he would have liked, but he did show some speed in this pavement sprint car. So John Steed, also participated in the Patriot 100. And again, another situation where the night did not go the way he would have liked.
Yeah, he mentioned he was pretty quick and then just kind of ran into a little bit of trouble. Ran into a little bit of trouble in the feature, but still had he had a decent lap there, 20.181. Jeffrey Stewart now onto the racetrack, the BS Air Hurgot Real Estate car.
Jeffrey always has good-looking paint schemes on here.
He does.
It just always. The man runs the best-looking cars on here. It's insane.
The old Stabmobile. So we'll see what Jeffrey can put together. 20.355 on his opening lap. Jeffrey hauls her down. And you'll notice on this track, too, if you haven't watched IRP a lot, you run, halfway up the racetrack. The bottom is extremely flat, and right about where Jeff goes in, there's a transition. So you can really make the car, if the car is loose, you can move around the racetrack and get it a little bit tighter. If it's too tight, you can really make it a little bit more free. So Jeffrey turns in a lap at 20.321. Dustin Griffith's now on to the racing surface.
Yeah, we will see these drivers get real close to the wall, especially as the night wears on, the tires kind of wear off a little in our main event. They're going to creep up towards that wall, use that banking a whole lot, but we'll also see on the reverse side of that, even though you got some drivers going up to the high side, we're going to start seeing drivers really send it in deep and dive down to the inside and do almost a slide job, especially heading into turn number 1.
Dustin down there a little bit low on the racetrack as he comes off. 20.082 puts him currently in 4th position. Michael Klein now out on the racetrack. Out of the Commonwealth of Kentucky. I like it, it's a Commonwealth. I don't know why, it's just fun to say. But he is out there.
And Billy, if I may, while this is going on, I do want to give a shout out to all the people watching over on the Turn 3 Racing Network YouTube page. Do make sure you check out the links that are down below in the broadcast description. That is the links to some of the Elbows Up guys here, including Billy and this other guy named Baden. I don't know. But, man, I just want to make sure that everyone knows that tonight is all about Elbows Up, but very excited to help bring the Turn 3 Racing Network and get this spread out as far as possible.
Yeah, we like it. It's a good partnership to have. We really do appreciate it. And actually, while we were watching Michael Klein qualify there, Mr. Jordan Smattis just upped the ante. It is now $50 if you want to come from the rear and win the feature this evening. So, big props to Jordan there. So $50 now on the line for the front row challenge, and that just means if nobody hits it, Hard Charger gets a little bit more money. So thank you, Jordan. Big thanks to you. So Tiernan already in chat saying 50 sounds pretty solid. Well, you're gonna have to set that thing, and you're gonna have to set that thing on the front row to have a chance at it. As we watch Brandon Hughes roll around, 20.278 currently puts him P7. Tyson Landis getting ready to roll out onto the racetrack as Brandon Hughes finishes up his lap. See if he can improve just a little bit. He does not. A little bit slower, 20.484. So here is Tyson Landis out onto the racetrack. Good looking race car. Wicked cushion.
Dude, I love that black and green, looking solid. And Tyson, I believe Tyson is a JSRL veteran.
Yeah, he was actually one of the ones that told me about, how cool the pavement sprint car was. He doesn't get to run them too much anymore, but, with a lot of the other leagues, dirt leagues and things like that going on, but it's pretty solid. Raven in the chat giving a shout out to Baden says, "How is my favorite modified driver doing?" Remember PG broadcast, Baden, PG broadcast. As Tyson Landis.
All right. Raven, nice to see you too.
Attaboy, Baden. Tyson Landis, 20.271. That currently puts him in 7th after the first group goes out. Here's your top 10. Tommy Corcoran, fast time right now. Skylar Brown right on his heels. Jacob Gordon out there. So there's your current top 10 as they sit.
And that was all of Group 1. So Mason Hannigan out of Group 2, he is rolling out on track now.
Oh, and we've got
and
a problem.
There it is. That will jump out and bite more drivers here, as we already have another one on the track. So maybe a little bit of miscommunication for Mason Hannigan set his lap.
Yeah, Mason Hannigan ran his lap, it looks like. Jeffrey Stanton, he turned a 20.042. Currently puts him 3rd overall, so good lap for Mr. Mason. He must have got it done on his first lap there. So Jeffrey Stanton, another one
Jeffrey
of the
Jet.
Yeah, one of the iRacing series guys that runs these cars an awful lot. He's extremely quick. 20.082 for him.
Yeah, Jeffrey the Jet Stanton, a weekly runner in the iRacing official series. And I actually have the points up, and Jeffrey Stanton in the iRacing series is sitting 4th place in the point standings behind Ryan Sellers, Dan Smith, and Matthew Pilas. Ryan Sellers and Dan Smith are here tonight, so we'll see what they can do.
And Jeffrey Stanton goes top of the board, 19.969. So heck of a job there for Jeffrey, getting his night started off on the right foot. Nick Nichols now onto the racing surface. 20.378 for his first lap. We saw him run the Crescent known at Patriot 100 last evening, and it was pretty quick. Just ran into some misfortune with his run last night. Hopefully gonna have a little bit better night tonight. 20.204. He does improve. 203, 8th quick. Here is the first of the DRR Speedworks cars. This is Mr. Ryan Sellers, teammates to Dan Smith. He is, I would say, arguably, he is one of the top 3 to 5 pavement sprint car drivers on the sim. I would humbly agree. As you see right there, first lap, P1, 19.935.
Wow.
That is scooting around this joint. So, track might be getting faster. We might be getting, track could be getting a little bit faster, but we shall see. And he even goes quicker, 19.908 miles an hour. So, unbelievable speed. Unbelievable speed. Next out onto the racing track, we've got Mr. John Batista. VUD TV car, 19 Designs. Through the Black Diamond, that is a teammate to Mason Hannigan. John runs a lot of the dirt stuff. He's one of the old dirt timers on here. Runs a lot with DSRL and DOB.
Yeah, got to call a race with Batista last night in the DSRL Wicked Energy Gum 410 Outlaw Series. As I get a little tongue-tied there, but Batista, picked up a Thursday night win in the DSRL League a couple weeks ago.
Yes, John, second quick on the board, 19.960. Good lap for Mr. Batista. Shane Haas now onto the track in that Salem Speedway car. Baden's favorite place in the entire world.
Yep, pretty much.
Dynamite drop in, Monty. Oh, as he touches the fence, that'll be the end of his qualifying lap. As we are using, unlike Fake 500 rules, we are using the iRacing official qualifying rules, so this lap will be invalidated, unfortunately, so he'll have to stand on his time at 20.210, which he was a little bit slower there anyway. But next out onto the track, man, he's got a lot of laps around here in real life, so we'll see what he can do, virtually. Mr. Mark Jessup out of Mooresville, Indiana now. Feature winner at the Winchester Speedway when he drove for Keith Coons. A little loose off the corner there, 20.218. He's going to try to pick it up here on his second lap.
He's getting drifting up the track there, trying to use that high line, a little bit more extra banking to get a better run onto the front stretch. And he's going to jump up to 7th place in his qualifying effort.
You'd almost think he knows what he's doing around here.
It would almost seem that way. But 7th quick for Mr. Mark Jessup. Next on to the racetrack, that will be Mr. Billy Brickley, the Sofa King Fast Sim Sport driver. Runs a lot of dirt. This is the first time I've ever seen him on the pavement before, so pretty cool to see. He turns a 20.259 for his first qualifying lap. See if he can pick it up a little bit. Used to seeing Billy in a black and red car, not this blue, but I really like that. It's sharp. So Billy Brickley turns in a 20.109, moves him to 10th overall. Next out on the track in the Gene Nolan tribute car, one of the crew members for the Nolan team during the Little 500 and their runs in the Silver Crown division, Mr. Tyler Kendall out of Connorsville, Indiana.
Liking the car. Really do like that.
Yeah,
keeps Jake Wooden up at night, but
yeah,
good looking car.
It literally keeps the entire field up at night. So 20.354 for Mr. Tyler Kendall on his first lap. See if he can channel his inner Swanson here as he comes through 3 and 4.
One of the things we didn't talk about this car is as Kendall goes across the line with a 20.107 moving up to 10th place, but the tires on this car really don't give you any sense of confidence until you about your 5th lap out on the track, and these guys are trying to get a qualifying lap laid down in 2 laps.
Yeah, and that's what makes what Ryan Sellers did so just really, truthfully, kind of ridiculous. Running a full 10 faster than what anybody else has on his first lap. Miles Jansen gets into the fence a little bit on his second lap. So Miles will have to stand on that 20.955 lap. We have had 20 cars total out to qualify.
And I've said multiple times, this car on here, it feels like the sidewall of the tire's too stiff. And that's huge when you're just trying to feel what the car's doing for 2 laps. Just trying to get the most out of it you can when it's not telling you as much as you would hope. That makes it a lot tougher.
Absolutely. Oh, these cars are a handful definitely with when they're on cold tires. You feel like an absolute monster of a hero for about 4 or 5 laps, like KR was saying. 5 to 7 laps in. You're feeling mighty good, and then all of a sudden that confidence just draws off big time.
Yep.
But Braden Eiler, the World of Outlaw feature winner from earlier this year on the Pro Series at Knoxville, beating out Alex Bergeron, which is a pretty tough feat. But 20.264 on his first lap, 20.170 second time around. And then it looks like we are going to Mr. Alex Crasper in the tribute Jimmy Sills car. So we kind of got a throwback night going a little bit.
Yes, I love it.
And that car does look good.
Yeah, I love the old Mopar cars right when they first started. Looks like he's having a little bit of connection issues, so hopefully that won't cause any trouble on his end. 20.280 on his first lap.
See, cars like that, like the old Mopar car, they tell you how old they are just by the number of smaller contingency stickers that are all over it. Tells you how long the car's been around without having a new body on it.
20.999 for Alex Crasper. And while we were talking about throwback car, here's another one. Anthony Job in the we're going to call that the Steve Lewis 9 car because we're not sure which one it was from. But we'll call it, you know what, we're going to call it, Dave doesn't get enough love. It's the Dave Darlin tribute car. So 20.329 for AJ on his first lap. See what he can do. Self-proclaimed horrible qualifier. So we'll see what AJ can get done here as he's got a pretty good line through 3 and 4. Got a little loose off the corner. Uh-oh. 20.066, but that is not going to count. Unfortunately, that'll put him 21st on the field. iRacing, the way that timing and scoring does, if you crack the tap the fence even after the start-finish line, before it hits the next timing loop, they count that still as an invalidated lap, so AJ will have to start pretty deep tonight in the heat races.
And don't look now, but the gorilla cage, the man, the hillbilly gorilla, Dan Smith on top of the leaderboard with a 19.902.
Unreal. Can we get an 8?
Not right.
Here we go. Here comes an 8. I feel it in my bones. Maybe not.
Maybe not. 927, but still number one on the board, 19.902. So right now got a 1-2 lockout of the DRR Speedworks cars. James Tiernan now onto the racing surface in the Curb Agajanian retro car. The old Parnelli Jones mobile. 19.959 for James on his first lap, so he's running for pole right now.
James, the smooth operator, came from the rear of the field Wednesday night in the Madness in May series, or Triple Crown series. So he comes off at turn number 4. He's going to cross the line, and James Tiernan going to go a little bit quicker, but only staying in third place with a 19.928.
So James Tiernan not going to have a shot at the front row challenge, unfortunately. Billy Bowerman now onto the racing surface, and the other Sofa King Sim Sport driver with Gramps on the visor. We like to see it. Like to see it. 20.207, good lap for Mr. Bowerman. That will currently put him in the 18th spot, so we'll see if he can improve on his upcoming lap. Looks like we got about 10 cars left to go qualify.
You know, having Gramps on the hood, calling himself the self-proclaimed old man on the track, it really brings out the kind of how awesome racing is overall. When was the last time you saw a 50-year-old out on the football field in professional level playing on the field? Well, you could see a 50-year-old come out and whoop up on some young kids who think they know everything. And that is the beauty of racing overall. It does not care about age. Anyone can do it. All you got to do is just be willing to hit a really hard object.
Yeah, what was it? Red Farmer's still running dirt late models, and he's got to be, what, 85, 90? I mean, he's old. Real old.
I think he remembers Danny Smith's rookie year. That tells you a lot.
Honestly, he might remember Richard Petty's rookie year. It's Michael Sheridan in the Brett Marks Sim Team car out on the track. Ran a 20.247, currently puts him P21. Chris Springer now in that Axis Seed car. Another good-looking car. Matches up pretty well with his fake 500 car, so you'll definitely be recognizing that one. Good-looking numbers on that thing, too. I'm a sucker for a car with good numbers on it. 20.072 for his first lap. Currently 12th overall. Here's a quick rundown of your top 10 at this point in time. So it looks like you got to be a 20.0 to get in the top 10 right now. See what Chris can do as he's sitting 12th at 20.089. A little bit slower on his second lap.
Horde Racer, if it weren't, or as the Knoxville Moths have said, if it weren't for the Civil War, Danny Smith would have had a lot more wins.
That's pretty solid. Super spotter Justin Carey now onto the racetrack. Spotter in the IndyCar series. So pretty cool deal for him to come run with us. 20.120. Currently puts him in 16th position overall. He runs a lot of these sprint car races as well, so pretty good to see him out onto the racetrack. And it looks like his teammate Brad Ringer will be out next, so we get to see two of these cars. J-Main crosses the line. 20.106, a little bit quicker. Will not move. Actually, does move into 14th position on the scoring board. As we talked about, Brad Ringer now onto the racetrack. Looks like he's got Sunshine Trailer Park on the side of there. So homage to Joe Ligori.
Look at that.
I do want to give a quick shout out. Matthew Pilas checking in on the Turn 3 Racing Network chat room. He is your current iRacing official points leader.
Ooh.
So he's excited for this race here tonight.
Yeah, we've got a really solid field. I like the fact that these guys are going to really have to race their way into the feature tonight. That's why I was pretty excited about this race all week long. As Brad Ringer 20.292 puts him currently 26th overall, and it looks like, who do we got now? Looks like Alex Orions.
Don't call me Oreo, KR.
Gorgeous race car. Gorgeous race
That one
car.
painted by Epic Media.
Absolutely. Looks, it just, I don't know.
Oh, that chrome on the 9, it's spot on.
It's done well. It is done extremely well.
Wow.
So Alex Orions, his first lap, 20.132. See if he can pick her up a little bit. Currently sitting in 17th spot, loose off the corner. I'm not sure that's going to do it. Oh, and he does, but it is invalidated from hitting the fence just like AJ, 20.132. So sitting 17th, Robert Smith now on to the racing track in the Epperson paint car. Bobby Smith, another guy that's a veteran of the sprint car ranks around the state of Indiana, ran a lot of pavement. So cool to see the title sponsor out here trying to get it done in the pavement sprint car. We'll see what he can do. 20.633 from Mr. Bobby Smith.
1994 USAC National Sprint Rookie of the Year.
See, now that's a dynamite drop-in. That's why this show is incredible. For stat guy like Zane Scott to bring it to the house. That car looking a little bit tight for Robert Smith. 20.674 will not improve. Currently 30th overall. And then here's a car that I'm happy to take a peek at in honor of what we're calling our Grand Marshal tomorrow, Mr. Jack Hewitt. Uh-oh. Broderick, hold on to it, buddy. There you go.
Jack's not going to like that.
Jack's not going to like that at all, but Ryan Broderick out here. Good-looking race car.
I think that qualifies for a Wolf.
That definitely almost qualified for another Jigger Soroyce award. But Mark Broderick, 21.111, definitely be looking to improve on this next lap here. Hold it down. 20.014, huge improvement. 8th overall onto the speedway.
Solid lap.
Another one of the Sofa King Sim Sport cars, Tyler Street, was supposed to run a wing sprint car race at Atomic last night, his first ever 410 start. They have rescheduled that for early next week, so he is here tonight running the pavement sprint car with us. 20.545 for Tyler as
There we go, up and over. We won't count practice flips. Our flip counter for tonight is at 1.
Ooh, that was kind of gnarly. And it looks like we've got Zane. Was that our final qualifier?
That is it. John Harper is not in the server.
John Harper not in the server. So while we let these guys make some adjustments before the heat races, we are going to do what every great American racetrack does. Here is our national anthem, actually sang by Jared Chambers tonight.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed by the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streamed, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free
Chambers, everybody. Always does a good job singing the national anthem. But it is time to go racing, boys. And we've got a pretty stacked heat number 1. That was an unofficial BS Air flyby. Unofficially. We cannot confirm. Yeah, we're going to call it one, but we can't confirm nor deny that. 10 laps for your first heat race as they start to roll out onto the racetrack. Your pole sitter, Fast Time Award winner, Mr. Dan Smith. Outside of him in row number 1 will be Jeffrey Stanton. Inside row number 2, Mason Hannigan. Chris Springer in row number, outside of the second row in the 4th position. 5th position, Mr. Billy Brickley. And Nick Nichols starting outside of him in the 6th spot. Michael Sheridan will roll off 7th. Jeffrey Stewart will roll off 8th. And Michael Klein brings out your field in the 9th spot in the 10 car. So we got 9 cars, 10 laps, top 4 to the A main. This will be a I'm excited. I can't tell you the last time I saw a heat race for a pavement sprint car.
Well, the drivers have 10 laps to get after it. And, the way this is set up, not everyone's going to make it straight into the main event. We're going to have 4 drivers go to the A from here. Dan Smith in that 47 machine. Jeffrey the Jet Stanton on his outside. 2 pavement sprint car ringers on the front row as the green flag flies. Heat race number 1 is underway.
And it looked like we had a little bit of contact back there. Mr. Chris Springer might have gotten into the fence a little bit on the start there.
This car will spin the back tires all the way down the straightaway. Really at the flag stand, you'll see that rear end jump up on some of these guys, and they will hit that wall if they're not on top of things. You really got to feather the throttle the whole way down the straightaway.
Dan Smith doing what he needs to do, starting to check out a little bit over Mr. Jeffrey Stanton, Mason Hannigan. Chris Springer still holding on to that 4th and final transfer spot. Billy Brickley trying to chase him down a little bit. Chris just pulling away just ever so slightly over Brickley. Nick Nichols, Sheridan, Jeffrey Stewart, and Michael Klein rounding out your top 9. But Mason Hannigan looking pretty tough in that Black Diamond car.
Yeah, right now he's sitting in 3rd. A good run for him going, but got to keep that car underneath you. We got to run all 10 laps before you can say you're in the show.
Yeah, these are, as we saw, like even with AJ, Alex Orion, same thing. These things will get squirrely on you at the end of the racetrack. So the faster they go, the harder to drive they get. So it looks like here Mr. Brickley is still falling a little bit back, about a 10th slower a lap than Chris Springer. So it looks like we're pretty single file here to start with these guys out front.
Yeah, this one got single file real quick. Dan Smith out in front. Jeffrey Stanton trying a couple different lines to close in on him, but not really making a whole lot of headway. But I'll tell you, these two out in the front of the field, that's a scary sight for everyone else here tonight.
Yeah, I know Dan and them have put a lot of preparation into this race. And actually, Jeffrey Stanton picks up a little bit of time there. Gap now falling. Was 2.65 last time by, now down to 0.2 of the second flat. So we might have a race here for the win here. This is the winner of your heat number 1 is your pole sitter. And then you're eligible for that bonus. I know Dan Smith said he doesn't race for money, he races for fun and glory. But it's going to be hard to turn down an extra $50, especially with a car that fast. So it looks like Jeffrey's still picking it up a little bit on him.
Yeah, Jeffrey's driving in a very unique line. He sends it in deep on the bottom, lets that car drift up to the high side and turn with the increased banking as you get closer to the wall. And he's really able to lay down some lap times with that. Dan Smith, though, riding right through the middle, going to make it hard for Jeffrey Stanton to pass him as we're coming to the white flag.
white flag out onto the field. As Chris Springer is still sitting in the 4th spot, Brickley in 5th, Nick Nichols, Sheridan, Jeffrey Stewart, and Michael Klein. You battle those for the win. And Jeffrey Stanton looks like he got a little bit free coming off the corner, so he's not going to be able to get it done. Let's go back to Chris Springer. It looks like he will end up in the 4th position, so he punches his ticket directly into the feature. Billy Brickley, Nick Nichols, Michael Sheridan, Jeffrey Stewart, and Michael Klein all going to the lesser main events on the evening, trying to put themselves back into the starting field for this evening as we get lined up for heat number 2. And on the front row, we have Mr. Ryan Sellers in the DRR Speedworks car. Tommy Corcoran outside row number 1. Mark Jessup inside row number 2. Alex Krapser in outside row number 2 in the Jimmy Sills Tribute car. Alex Don't Call Me Oreos Orions in the 5th starting spot. Man, this is a tough heat. This is a really tough heat. Billy Bowerman starting 6th. Tyson Landis rolling off 7th. AJ Job, we know that car had speed. He ran I believe it was an 060 and it got invalidated. So 060 or 080. So we'll see what he can do from the rear. And then Miles Jansen in the D2 Racing Designs bringing up the rear. 9 cars again, 10 laps. We will see what we can get going on this one.
Guys, I am going to keep my eye on the 9 of Alex. Don't call me Oreo KR Orions. And, I call him Oreo anyways, even though I'm not supposed to. But that's part of the joys of being behind the microphone.
Yeah, you kind of get to do what you want.
Yeah. But that 9 machine, he had a fast lap going, tagged the wall as he spun out a little bit, so it invalidated his lap. Be watching that 9. I think he's going to be one of the ones that transfers in, but Ryan Sellers, Tommy Corcoran on the front.
So we're getting ready to go green. We'll see who gets the good jump on the field. And green flag is out. Green flag. Good start there for Ryan Sellers. Starting to kind of check out.
Jessup already digging.
Yeah, Jessup digging around the bottom. Tommy Corcoran, though, gets that good run around the outside. That's the preferred line. Being around that second seam up seems to be one of the quicker ways around on the racing track, especially, towards the end of the race.
Alex making a dive to the inside of the 40 of Krasper. Not able to get it done down the backstretch. We'll see what he's got through 3 and 4 here. He drives it in deep. Krasper going to drift up high. Here comes Alex on the inside off of turn number 4. They're going to go wheel to wheel at the line. That was too close to call. But Alex going to drive in deep once again into 1 and 2. Take over that final transfer spot.
And here comes Alex, the other Alex, right back. The battle of the Alexes for the 4th and final transfer spot. Billy Bowerman falls close to the rear of the field. AJ Job's moved up a couple spots. He's now in the 6th spot. But the battle right now, Ryan Sellers is checked out by about a half a second right now. Ooh, Mark gets a little loose. Mark gets a little loose. Is he going to get into battle with Orions here? But your race is for the transfer right now.
Alex and Alex still going at Krasper, not letting that 9 machine pull away from him, but they are both catching up to the 14J of Mark Jessup. And,
big crash.
Big crash. Yellow is out. And that's what we were talking about. If you get overzealous in this car, a lot of times it can come back to bite you. And all it was is actually we will go on the roll bar. Just a little bit too much throttle makes these cars do some weird things. So, unfortunate set of circumstances there for the 40 of Alex Krasper.
That is a very common thing to see happen here at IRP is coming off at turn number 2. you really feel like that car has a ton of grip heading down the backstretch, especially when you're racing somebody. You can just kind of power up a little too much, a little too soon, a little too fast. And next thing you know, it gets tail happy and you're going to end up in the wall like Alex Crasper did.
Now we're going to see.
Sorry.
We're going to see
I
if that's.
keep adding an S to his last name. I apologize.
It's we're gonna see if Alex Oriens was coming in a pretty big hurry, so it's gonna be interesting to see now that he's sitting in that 4th transfer spot. Is he gonna play it safe or try to get aggressive and move up? With the amount of heat races that we have, one spot in the heat race is worth 4 or 5 spots, so that's a few rows. So. It definitely, the farther forward you can get in the heat race, the better off you are. So your winners of your heat race will start up front. Second place will start in the back. And I will say too, with yellow flags not counting, you may see timing and scoring jump around a little bit. So have no harm there. But while we're under yellow, big thanks to everybody for coming and hanging out with us tonight and watching this pretty good racing so far. So only going to get better as the light goes.
Share the stream with hashtag.
Yeah, see, I'm glad Zane's here to remind me that stuff. Please share the stream. If you share the stream, tonight we're just going to do Fake 500 again as well. So if you hashtag Fake 500 and share the stream, whether you're watching it on Twitch, Turn 3, my YouTube channel, or Facebook, be sure to share the stream, hashtag Fake 500, hashtag Wicked Relief Gun as well. So if you could do that, that would be fantastic, and you will be entered into a drawing that will draw Saturday night as well. So all you have to do is just share it, and we'll get you added onto the list. So hopefully you can win some prizes, and then tomorrow we're gonna have a lot of giveaways during the race. So be sure to pay attention to that as well.
Billy, we were talking, before we went live, about how the Turn 3 coming on to help spread this out. I wouldn't mind if we got at least one subscriber out of this deal. That's all I'm hoping for here tonight. But more importantly, I'm hoping for an outstanding night of racing.
Yeah, be sure to head over to the Turn 3 Racing Network. They do a lot of different races, a lot of different tracks. It's AJ looking to the outside of Alex Oriens now. So AJ putting some fire underneath Alex. He races for the transfer. Sellers still checked out about a half second a lap, or about a half second faster than Tommy Corcoran right now, pulling away just slightly. Mark Jessup now under complete fire from Alex Oriens. So we've got ourselves a dandy of a race here for the top 3 spot, or 3rd, 4th, and 5th right now. You can throw a blanket over.
Corcoran closing in on Sellers in that first place battle as the 14 machine going to drive in deep into 3 and 4, but that 30 of Ryan Sellers, he's going to be hard to dislodge from this top spot as we're about ready to wrap this race up, but we're going to have another yellow as it looks like the 9 of Alex Oriens, flip count number 2. The 9 has gone up and over.
And naturally, as soon as we go to the front of the field to watch the Ryan Sellers battle, we run into a couple of issues here. Let's see what happens here as we go back and watch an instant replay. Oh, it looks like Mark got a little messed up on the front straightaway, and him and Alex getting together. Ooh, that's a tough break. Tough break for Alex Oriens.
Mark Jessup spun those tires halfway down the straightaway. We're going to see that all night long. Those tires are going to break loose right about the flag stand. And that is what caught Mark Jessup out. And unfortunately, Alex, wrong place, wrong time.
Well, and we're going to go on board with Mark just to see what happened. You can listen to the throttle. Yeah, just a little bit too much throttle is all it takes to cause a little bit of trouble. So, unfortunate circumstances for Alex Oriens.
We're going to have a one-lap shootout for this, though.
Clickety says too much freedom pedal. I like it. I like the term freedom pedal. Big fan as we look through the 14 of Mark Jessup. But your story of the race so far, Ryan Sellers up front. Tommy Corcoran though was putting on some pressure, so it's going to be interesting to see if we got another battle for the lead like we had in the last race. So it looks like we will go around one more time. Lights on the pace car should go off this time by.
Seeing as it's a Ford butt stain, they probably have quit working.
They might have, because they've been going around for a little bit. So we'll see what happens. I know Dallas. Dallas probably loving the old Mustang jokes. I'm surprised Baden didn't kick one in there too. That's kind of shocking.
Don't look now, but transfer spot going to Anthony Job. Oh, AJ.
Yeah, rough qualifying effort, but a little bit of bad luck in qualifying, but making it count, and really some unfortunate circumstances for Alex Orions there. Wrong place, wrong time. As we get a good close-up look at the DRR Speedworks car. Ryan Sellers, and it looks like lights are out on the pace car, and we will go green next time by, and we'll have a one-lap shootout. So this should be pretty exciting. Clickety says, "I really expected to see the pace car take out part of the."
It tried. The wall
memes.
stopped it.
Oh, memes! I love memes so very much. Flagman there holding the green. Barney getting ready to get his waving hand on as we will go back to green flag action. As they fire off at turn number 4, white flag is out. Actually, no, we're going to have a green-white checkered here. So we've got... Nope, it did finally kick over.
Yep, one-lap shootout. Job on the outside of Mark Jessup. Anthony going to move into third place. But Ryan Sellers coming off of turn number 4 out in front. He is going to win our heat race.
Mark Jessup falling out of the top 4. Moved Tyson Landis. What a heck of a run for Mr. Landis there. From pretty deep in the field up into the top 4, putting himself into the show. Nice job.
Jessup just had to have been trying to hold on to that thing. The damage on that car probably really affecting that final lap there for him.
Well, and here we are for heat number 3. This will be your pole sitter, Mr. James Tiernan. On the outside of him, the Kinzer Sim Team car, Skylar Brown. In the 71 car, the Flying Banana. And then Jacob Gordon, the son of Little 500 Hall of Famer Eric Gordon, starts third onto the field. Justin Carey, the IndyCar spotter, starting in the 4th spot in the 42 car. World of Outlaw champion, or World of Outlaw winner, I should say. At Knoxville earlier this year, Mr. Braden Eiler in the 6 car, 5 on the car itself. Shane Haas in the Salem Speedway car rolls off 6th. Brandon Hughes in the 7 hole. Tyler Street in 8th, and John Harper did not make the call. So that is your lineup for heat number 3.
Tiernan lobbying hard to try and make himself eligible for that Hard Charger award.
He really wants to make himself eligible. If he can drop to his question was, and we'll have to ask race control, his question was, can I drop to the rear of the field to basically start back there and therefore go for Hard Charger?
That is if nobody on the front row wants it.
That is correct.
And I vote. If the front row doesn't want it, let's move to the next row.
We shall see. James Tiernan, big jump. As green flag comes out, big jump for him. Justin Carey running into a little bit of trouble there. As they come rolling down the backstretch, Justin Carey on the outside of Braden Eiler. Justin, a lot of experience in these cars we've talked about. These are a very experienced car. We might have a battle for the lead up front here soon. As yes, James Tiernan gets passed by Skylar Brown. Lead change.
James Tiernan had a penalty for jumping the start.
Big moves.
This was hockey.
moves.
He'd be in the penalty box for 2 minutes, but he is trying hard down to the inside of Skylar Brown. James Tiernan in that 98, going to get sideways just a touch, has to lift. That breaks his momentum a little bit. Skylar Brown holding him off down the backstretch.
James Tiernan now trying to make it work, as it looks like the top two and the top 3 and 4 have broken away a little bit. Braden Eiler trying to catch Justin Carey. Our battles for the race lead right now is Tiernan just can't get back to the throttle soon enough. Or getting back to the throttle too soon, I should say. Breaking the car loose just a little bit.
Jacob Gordon in that 41 machine, that Madness in May series I'm doing. Last Wednesday night, he was out in front, led a majority of the race until that 98 of Tiernan came flashing by with 10 laps to go. But Jacob Gordon, no slouch in this car right now. He's sitting in third with our final transfer spot going to Justin Carey in the 42. But right now, out in front, it is Skylar Brown under heavy attack from the 98 of Tiernan.
Backstretch in turn number 3. Tiernan driving a little bit deeper, but Skylar getting a much better run off the corner. And as I say that, here comes Tiernan getting a good bite. Skylar running a little bit lower on the racetrack than what a lot of people do. That's going to play into an interesting dynamic for the feature. Running down there, you're using off more tire. Your tires are getting hotter quicker.
I call that the defensive line where Skylar Brown is running. He's using up the entire corner to hold off that 98, really making Tiernan have to work him over hard. But when Skylar Brown enters down low like that and drifts it up high, he starts using all of that racing surface and really causing Tiernan to have to try and pick his way around and look for an opening. But Skylar Brown, the driver that he is, may not leave that opening for the 98.
Yeah, and it is hard to pass here, too.
I think James is going to have to get brave and just show him the nose up top, because as soon as he can get that, I think he can make the pass, but he's just going to have to get brave and stick it in there.
Yeah, Skylar's leaving him a lot of room on corner entry, but the way that James' car might be set up, he might not be able to make it happen. So.
It looks like even through the center, he's got enough to get there as he looks to the inside. Let's see if he's got the bike to make it happen. Not enough off 4.
Ooh.
He's gonna have to try something. No, race is over. Never mind. So much for
Skylar Brown takes the win. James Tiernan, Jacob Gordon, and Justin Carey, your top 4. They will transfer on to the main event as we move into heat race number 4, which I believe will be our last heat race of the evening, if I'm correct.
It is.
And on the pole, we have Mr. John Batista out of, I believe he's from Florida now. I believe he's from the Orlando area. Mark Broderick outside of the front row in the Jack Hewitt tribute car. Dustin Griffiths in the Crescent Donuts Catch Fence Apparel machine starting inside of row number 2. Tyler Kendall, the G. Nolan tribute car on the outside of row number 2. The Quick Lifts car out of Connorsville, Indiana. John Steed, the Bobolink Liquors car, start in position number 5. Dallas Breeze in the over-the-wall photos number 78 car starts in the 6th spot. Brad Ringer starts 7th in the Sunshine Trailer Park entry. Penske's Lawn Service as well on the side of that thing. And Robert Smith, Bobby Smith, 94 USAC Rookie of the Year, starts outside of the 4th row in 8th. 8 cars, 10 laps, top 4 advance to the A main. This one I think is probably going to be our most competitive heat race of the night, if I have to guess. I know a lot of these guys are really quick. It's just going to be a matter of, can you keep that consistency? That's going to be the main thing.
Billy, real quick, Josh Hansen has a insider tip for you, saying you're a bit quiet.
He always says I'm a bit quiet. Everybody tells me I'm loud, and then everybody says I'm quiet. So
that's a pro streamer tip right there.
That's a pro streamer tip. So we'll move the mic in a little bit closer, and hopefully we can help that volume out a little bit there. As we are ready to go, green flag racing.
Green flag.
John Batista. Good jump for him. Broderick, though, sticking right with him. Oh, and Steed sticks the bottom, but your big mover of that deal, Dallas Breeze. Started in the 6th spot, already up to 4th into a transfer, putting fire onto Dustin.
Ooh,
Dustin gets
contact,
loose.
Tyler Kendall, John Steed, and the 82 machine of Dustin Griffiths. They all got real close. Somehow they all managed to hold on to it.
We were talking about how this might be the most competitive heat race of the bunch. As it sits right now, Dustin Griffiths holding on to the 4th spot, but Tyler Kendall trying to make his run through the field. John Batista currently absolutely checked out on the field. Him and Mark Broderick just basically turning. And yellow is out. And that looks to be for Bobby Smith. We'll go back and see what happened to him in the Epperson paint car. As we will take a look from high atop turn number 1.
Spoiler, add the flip count.
Upside down, Mr. Bobby Smith just got into the corner a little bit too hot. Tough break for Bobby Smith out of Plainfield, Indiana. So we are yellow, 3 laps in. Current top 10, John Batista, Mark Broderick. Dallas Breeze moves up 3 spots. Forgot you can't do that with yellows off. But your top 10 sitting on the racetrack right now. Everybody in this one, I think, really has a shot to make this field. From 3rd on back is pretty darn competitive, but Dallas had a heck of a start there, though.
Tyler Kendall had been working over the 82 of Dustin Griffiths. Kendall had dove down to the inside down the backstretch, but spun the tires trying to make something happen off of turn number 2 and had to lift. So I would be watching the battle for this transfer spot. As you mentioned, anyone 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th has a shot at this. John Batista and Mark Broderick really showing the class of this heat race for the moment. But, man, this car can jump out and bite anybody, so do not give that checkered flag to these guys just yet.
Yeah, as we saw earlier, Mark Jessup was sitting solid in a 3rd or 4th place transfer spot, and then all of a sudden, trouble. So, I mean, one little misstep on the throttle on these things, and you can be in a hurry pretty quick as the sun is starting to go down. Take a couple of different camera views here. Looks like we're going to have one. Our lights are out. We'll go green this time by Mr. John Batista. We'll bring them to green. Mark Broderick, Dallas Breeze, and Dustin Griffiths are top 4 right now. So, but watch out for the 13 and the 07. Tyler Kendall and John Steed. I think they might have something for them. So we'll see what happens here after this lap 3 restart.
Green flag.
Green is out on the field. Good start for Batista. Gets into the corner, and here comes that Tyler Kendall we were talking about. Throw it in very, very deep, trying to get underneath Dustin Griffiths there. We'll watch this battle for the transfer spot.
Wow, that was a big run down the inside, and he's almost making it work.
Yeah, he's sticking down there, running where they're not on the racetrack. Dustin stays a little high.
Griffith sideways.
Saved it.
Wow, good save.
Great save. And then we got some more contact in the back. Steed and Ringer getting into it a little bit. And that puts Tyler Kendall into the 4th spot.
Tyler Kendall really went with the old adage, 8 tires is better than 4, but man, he drove that one deep into 1 and 2 and made it work.
Yeah, the late Larry Rice used to say, he tried dipping and diving, slipping and sliding. It just turned out there was somebody up top of him there just a little bit, but no harm, no foul. And is he going to do it again here? Shoves it super deep, almost was able to clear Dallas Breeze. He sticks her down low on the bottom. John Batista still checked out. Mark Broderick in tow. Man, Tyler is really good on the bottom of the racetrack in 1 and 2. Extremely good. Is he going to drive by Dallas? No. Dallas gives him a little pinch move. Gives him just enough room to stay down there. Uh-oh, and there we talked about it. Tyler Kendall just got into the wall a little bit. Did that going to affect the car here?
A little scrape like that. No, he's all right. This car does have its fragileness, but it also has some durability to it. Not like an Indy car where if you brush the wall, your race is done. So Tyler Kendall closing in as we're on the final lap here. White flag flying. John Batista in the 54 out in front as he works his way down the backstretch. Broderick falling behind and through 3 and 4. Your final heat race of the night. John Batista off at turn number 4, and he's going to win our 4th and final one.
And Dallas Breeze holds off Tyler Kendall for 4th overall. Dustin Griffiths, John Steed, Brad Ringer, and Robert Smith going to one of the lesser mains. And it looks like this will be the C main if I have to be... Or actually, do we have a D main?
No, it is going straight to the C main. We have skipped the D.
We have skipped the D, so we were running the C main. This will be 15 laps on the board. Your pole sitter, the 72 car, the Hergot Real Estate BS Air car out of Milford, Ohio, Jeffrey Stewart. Miles Jansen from Minnesota in the D2 Designs, 67, will start outside the front row. Brandon Hughes will roll off 3rd. Brad Ringer in the Penske Lawn Services car will start outside the 2nd row and 4th. Nick Nichols in probably Braden Eiler's favorite car on the racetrack right now, the Bass Pro Shops car. He will roll off P5. Heartbreak of the night so far. Alex Orions was running really good in his heat race, got into some trouble, and put himself, unfortunately, into the C main here this evening. So we'll see if he can crack the top 4 in this to move on to the B. Shane Haas rolls off 7th in the Salem Speedway car. Bobby Smith will roll off 8th in the Epperson Paint PPG car. Michael Klein rolls off 9th, and your final starter in 10th will be Alex Krapser. But huge thanks to, we want to give a big thanks and big shout out to Bobby Smith. Epperson Paint put up, became the title sponsor of this deal. Huge thanks to them getting involved in this fun iRacing deal. We've got hopefully we can keep these events going as we look forward to the green flag coming out. Jeffrey Stewart has command of the field with Miles Jansen in tow.
Green flag.
Green is out for Mr. Stewart, but Miles Jansen with a heck of a run on the outside. Pinching a little bit low, though, keeping Jeff way down on the bottom, not where you want to be on the racetrack. Jeff, your pole sitter looks... Oh, there he goes. Look at there. I was convinced he was going to fall back into third. Brad Ringer, though, making the outside. Ooh, got really loose as Alex Oriens.
Come on, Oreo. Get it. I'd like to see Oreo in this A main. He is a driver who has the speed to make it. Now he's transferred into the B. Trouble at the front.
Oh,
we got one around.
Wow.
Miles Jansen. How did nobody hit him?
How did nobody hit him? How did he not hit anybody? That was a wild chain of events off of turn number 2. Spun those rear tires. Had to chase the car and just could not catch it. But don't look now. Alex Oriens in third. Now into second place as Hughes spun the tires coming off of 2.
Gonna have to drop an F in chat for Miles Jansen.
Sad to see his night end early as dive bomb into turn number 1. Alex Oriens to the front of the field.
Power move for Alex Oriens.
Alex is wanting it. I am excited to see what he can do if he gets into the B main. This C main, 15 laps. Alex having that clean air. Now he's just got to focus on hitting his marks and make it the rest of the way.
Battle right now is for the top 4, because top 4 are transferring out of this to the back of the B main. Brad Ringer currently in 4th, but under fire from your last row starter. Alex Krapser in 5th is all over the tail tank of Mr. Brad Ringer.
Into 1.
Bobby Smith clearing his car off the track. We stay green, but an early exit for Bobby Smith in that 08 machine.
Not the night he was looking for, but
so goes the racing racing gods not smiling on him.
Because we've got a heck of a battle for the transfer spot right now. Brad Ringer and Brandon Hughes running side by side along with Alex Krapser and Nick Nichols boxed in behind him. I think the fastest out of these 4 cars might just be the 40 of Krapser. Krapser makes a move to the outside. And actually, that lap scored in 4th, so he has cleared the car of Brad Ringer.
Got the wall off of 4 there, but he is on a mission.
He is on
rolling that high side real well. Gets a little loose, though.
See, and that's what happened to him in the heat race. He was in a pretty good spot and just got a little anxious with the throttle pedal. And he got it again.
Does it again.
That's going to
let
you
want to do there.
Brad Ringer by and bring Nick Nichols back into the picture. So now Brad Ringer moves into the 4th spot.
We're working lap here. 11 and 15, guys. It's winding down. That 40 machine has the speed, but he needs to settle in, hit his marks, try and keep off that wall.
Heck of a battle for the final transfer spot. Is looks like Krapser, who we're told in chat was running 19.8 second laps in his practice yesterday, so that car definitely has the speed. But can he keep from... He's had a couple of little mistakes that have kept him out of the field so far. But they are too wide, 3rd and 4th right now, both in a transfer spot. You want to be careful, you got to be quick, but you can't do anything too incredibly dangerous to take yourself out of the B main. It looks like Brandon Hughes might have gotten a little piece of the wall.
Well, he did there. This is a good race. This is a very good race. You got 4 cars shooting for 1 spot.
Yeah, and the guy sitting in the catbird seats, Nick Nichols, right now, just waiting for something to happen.
Last lap. This is your chance.
White flag is out for the field, as we have not seen much of Alex Oriens, but we are definitely not going to take our eyes off this battle for the transfer spot. Alex Oriens will definitely be picking up the win as he crosses
the line.
Jeffrey Stewart in 2nd, and it looks like 3rd and 4th will go to Brandon Hughes and Brad Ringer. So those are your 4 cars that will move on to tonight's B main. Actually, to timing and scoring, just up.
Yeah, Nick Nichols got bumped into 4th.
What in the world happened there? Well, but it's still showing that Brad Ringer is in the field, so must have just had a little iRacing glitch there before. So tonight's B main. How many are we taking out of this one, KR?
We are taking 8 out of the B main and putting them into the field.
So we have 12 cars. 12 cars.
12 cars.
25 laps. Top 8 to the A main. So really got to be patient here with Billy Brickley starting on the pole sitter. So he will have the command of the field. Outside of him is USAC veteran Mark Jessup. Inside of row number 2, Braden Eiler, the dirt standout, the high side hustler. Dustin Griffiths, catch fence in 82 outside of the second row. Michael Sheridan will roll off 5th. Billy Bowerman, Grandpa, starting in the 6th spot. Tyler Street in another Sofa King car. So all 3 Sofa King cars in the B main trying to put themselves into the show. John Steed outside of row number 4. And then your C main transfers. Alex Orions in the 9. Super fast. It's going to be interesting to see how 25 laps long. That's borderline a feature. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do from the 9 hole. Jeffrey Stewart, your second place finisher in the C main. He will start in the 10th spot. Brandon Hughes will roll off in the 11 hole. And Brad Ringer brings out the rear of your field in 12th. So we got 25 laps on the board, 12 cars, top 8 going to the transfer into the back of the Epperson Paints night before the 500. And a big shout out again to everybody. Thank you guys very much for stopping in, spending your Friday night with Baden and myself and KR and Zane and the whole gang. So we should have a heck of a B main here as we're getting ready to go green. Pace car is in.
Green flag.
Green flag is out. Mark Jessup with a heck of a jump there.
Wow. Big jump for Jessup. Let's see what race control has to say about that, though.
Yeah, that will be an interesting call from race officials, and it looks like he may have jumped. No, as Billy Brickley just dives in underneath of him. Mark Jessup, your current leader.
I guess he technically gave it back going into 3.
In theory, he did. We'll have to...
Called it good.
Yeah,
Race.
heck of a start there. Braden Eiler in 3rd currently.
Braden's not too familiar with pavement stuff on here, so it's good to see him running pretty good so far.
I know with Braden, he was really heartbroken that he couldn't run the fake 500 by Wicked Reluco, and really wanted to be a part of this event. And he's like, man, I've just got to learn how to run the pavement sprint car. So he's put himself in, a pretty prime spot, while the leaders here are kind of getting after it. We'll go back and check on Alex Orions, your C-Main winner. He is currently in the 7th spot now. So he is on his way through the start. So Jessup did have to give that spot up. Okay, so your new leader, Billy Brickley, Mark Jessup back to 2nd. Can you get back to the lead?
This place is so tough to pass. That's the last thing you want if you're Mark Jessup.
Yeah, we saw it earlier with James Tiernan jumped the start a little bit. Therefore, he had to give the spot up. And it cost him 3 rows in the feature.
But you're looking at a longer race. We haven't seen this so far. It's
caution is out.
And it would appear
Jeffrey Stewart in the 72 has gone around.
Let's go back, and he looks like to be part of the flip count as well. We'll go back to the instant replay here as Jeff, a little bit of contact, and upside down he goes.
Barrel rolls
Oh,
down the front stretch. Good thing this is a simulation, because otherwise that one might have hurt a little.
yeah, that
Jeff
one.
just wrecked for half a lap.
Yeah, that didn't feel too good for Mr. Jeffrey Stewart. That's one of those, if you're in VR, you definitely have to close your eyes.
Close your eyes, because because that bucket is just out of reach. But man, Alex Orion sitting in 7th. John Steed in the 7 machine right now. He's in the final transfer spot. And I'll tell you, John Steed has worked so hard for all of this Wicked Relief Fake 500 events. I would love to see that 7 make his way into the A main here tonight.
Yeah, I know John's put he was on the sim for quite a while, and then real racing kind of got in the way, and he went on the road with John Andretti and his son Jarrett, and followed the USAC National Sprint Car Tour with them as one of their mechanics. So didn't have much time for iRacing, sold all of it, and he saw how much fun we were all having. And buddy of Skylar Brown was like, "Man, you gotta get back on this. It's starting to get it's getting pretty dicey." So good to see John Steed back on the sim.
John Steed came back in a big way. He is I've talked a lot about that Madness in May Triple Crown series. John Steed spearheaded that, and man, I was just glad to get to work with John Steed in that league and over on the Turn 3 Racing Network Wednesday and Sunday night. We're coming to the final week of that. 2 races left in the season out of 8, and we are going to be doing the midgets and then the 410 Winged Outlaws. That's Sunday and Wednesday night.
So yeah, be sure to give Turn 3 Network a follow so you guys can watch those races live. I've watched a few of them when I can. They're pretty darn good racing, so be sure to head over there and check them out on their respective nights, as it looks like we are going to get the 1 to green. Before they go green, we'll take this time. If you guys are fresh into the stream, be sure to share, like, follow, retweet, however you found us, whatever you can do to get us out on social media, please do that. Use hashtags Fake500 and hashtag Wicked Relief. Use those tonight, and you'll be entered in for the drawing tomorrow night after the 500 miles at Indianapolis for the Fake 500. We'll be having some special prizes going out for those as well. So if you guys can share those, that would be absolutely fantastic. And as we get ready to go back to green flag racing, Mr. Brickley has control of the field. Green flag is out. Oh, and Mark gets a little bit of the wall on the start. Braden Nyler had to check up, lets Billy Brickley get a little bit of a gap there. He said earlier in the chat, sorry for me starting on the pole for everybody, because he wasn't too confident in himself, but here he is leading the B main with working lap 8 of 25, so a long way to go yet, and we have another yellow.
Sheridan, the 15 machine, has found trouble on the front stretch, and Michael Sheridan has been having trouble since that green flag came out for this restart. That car has just not been to his liking. I don't know what happened to him, but rough go for that 15.
Looks like he was just a little bit too low on the racetrack, and it's pretty easy to get yourself in a little bit of trouble. It's pretty easy to get yourself in a little bit of trouble there. That low on the racetrack, it's very flat. There's not a lot of rubber on it. There's very little grip, and if you get on the throttle a little bit too hard, around she will go, and that's exactly what happened to the Brett Marks Sim Team driver. Not a big pavement guy. We see him usually with the 410 Outlaws and 360s as well with DSRL and DOB and UDSS as well. So if this is kind of your first experience watching a lot of sim racing, throughout the week there's a lot of different races going on. A lot of dirt stuff, a lot of pavement stuff as well. So a lot of good leagues, DSRL, UDSS, DOB. Those are a lot of the ones that myself and my team and a lot of others run. Highly competitive, very fair-driven leagues. So they're a lot of fun to run. But we are still working lap number 8 here for the B main. We'll get a current top 10 there real quick before they cross the line, and it'll shuffle them out. But Brickley, Jessup, Eiler, Griffiths, Bowerman, Orion, Steed, and Ringer from the rear. So 2 of your C main drivers making it into the top 10 as of right now. Both of them into a transfer spot. So good job for those guys so far. But again, like KR's been saying, long way to go in this deal. Anything can happen.
Yeah, we're only working lap number 8. These caution flags do not count. And right now, with 8 drivers going into the show, nothing is set in stone. Michael Sheridan, who right now, last car in the field, sitting in 12th, he still could make the A main. Is if I do my math incorrectly, we got like 100 laps left in this B main.
Oh, we'll see if we can get them clicked off here pretty quick, and then we'll get into our main event for the evening. So it's been fun so far. I've enjoyed this. It's been a long time since I've gotten to watch pavement sprint cars at IRP. So they do actually have a couple of real life events coming up. So if you like what you see here, be sure to get your tickets to go out to Raceway Park and watch the pavement sprint cars. I believe June 20th, and then they are actually doing a night before the 500 this year as well. So that's pretty cool. So. For the sprint cars and the midgets. The midgets will be returning back to the Indianapolis Raceway Park. So pretty awesome deal. As we get ready to go back to green here, Billy Brickley has control of the field once again.
Be ready, green flag.
And green flag is out. Mark, a lot better start out of him this time around. They go down the backstretch. We will go towards a little bit of the middle of the field to see what's going on. Bowerman making some power moves. He's still sitting in 5th right now. Running pretty good. We're going to find out, I guess, if Grandpa can run 75 laps in a sprint car.
Gramps in that 94 machine, though, has that hard-charging Alex Oriens on his back bumper. Alex digging for a little bit more. Right now he is in the show, but trying to get a better starting position for the A main. He's going to dive down to the inside on the front stretch. Sends it in deep into one, drifts up a little bit, but gives plenty of room to Gramps.
Alex Oriens, super fast and very, very patient, too. Knows it's a long race. No reason to get ahead of yourself. You're already in the show right now as where you're sitting in 6th. No real reason to really get ahead of yourself. You definitely want to move forward because, I mean, the difference between 8th and 1st in this, that's 4 rows. So that's 8 guys you don't have to pass coming up in the feature. So as the sun goes down, this track's going to keep changing. Cars are going to get faster. It's going to be changing a lot, actually. These cars are pretty temperature sensitive as well. Not as much as the Lotus 79 car that we're running over at the big track, but still very, very close. Dependent on weather, and it looks like we might have a battle up front here. Mark Jessup starting to pick up a little bit of speed that time by, but a little bit under a half a tenth faster than Brickley. So we'll watch the leaders here and see if we can see what this looks like here, actually. See if Mark Jessup can pull off the B main win. But we have working lap number 15 right now, as timing and scoring updates. Mark dips all the way to the bottom, trying to get a good run. Slips a little bit off the corner.
Braden Eiler right now finds himself in 4th place, but the 9 of Alex Oriens has started to try and work him over. Alex trying the high side and low side. Little bit of pokes here and there, some pre-jousting jabs, if you will, as this battle for 4th place begins to heat up. Mark Jessup, Dustin Griffiths, next 2 cars in front of Braden Eiler, as Billy Brickley really kind of opening up a bit of a gap now on Jessup. But as I say that, Jessup got a great run down the backstretch. He's going to drive in deep into 3.
Mark's starting to put some pressure, and as we say that, Dustin Griffith's starting to come into the play. Working lap number 18, and again, you don't want to do anything too crazy because you know you're going to be starting up not great, but decent in the future. You definitely don't want to take yourself out trying to win the B, but you definitely want as good a starting spot as you can for the A that's coming up here in a little bit.
One of the things to the pavement sprint car is patience. because sooner or later someone is going to make a misstep, going to spin the tires. You have got to be in position to take advantage of that as Alex Oriens drives down underneath, but the caution flag is going to come out.
Pressure, temperature right there.
As it looks like our leader, Billy Bauer, or not our leader, I apologize, Gramps himself, Billy Bowerman, in the 94, found trouble out on the speedway.
The curse of the announcers. We were just talking about what happened, and there it was. Got into the backstretch wall and upside down for Mr. Brickley. That takes him currently out of the running for the Epperson Paint night before the 500. So now Brandon Hughes sitting on the bubble with Tyler Street right behind him.
I believe is that flip number 5 here tonight?
That is flip number 5, I believe.
Billy Bowerman, I'm looking at his car closely here. Looks like it has sustained some significant damage. He has not pulled it down pit road. We'll see if he still has a little bit of speed, but the way that thing is tracking, I think he's going to have his hands full. But if he does stay out, he still is only 2 cars away from making the show. Anything can happen. 2 drivers can get together and take themselves out of the park, out of the race. That would put Billy in. So smart move, not just coming straight down pit road and calling it a night.
Yeah, definitely. You have to keep giving yourself a chance. You know, with a sprint car, you never give up, no matter what the situation is. So, I mean, you have to keep dinging and sitting there, especially, you know, if you're sitting 16th, 18th like that, something, yeah, maybe it's time to park it. But 2 cars out, you've been fast, even with the damage, you might have a shot at this deal to make it into the show. So we'll definitely be keeping an eye on Mr. Bowerman, the announcer for the UDSS. Does a heck of a job. We talked to him a lot on Bump Day. Great guy out of the state of California. Just enjoys life almost as much as if he was having any more fun, it would be illegal somehow. So Billy Bowerman,
boy, I hope the police don't come after us, because this is a lot of fun just calling this race.
Man, I hope not. Usually I'm good for a cop driving by my house about 800 miles an hour, so we haven't had that happen yet. So we are getting ready to hopefully get the 1 to green here next time by, as the pace car lights are still on.
Got some viewers watching not only the race that's going on here, but the World of Outlaws race at Peevely at I-55 Speedway. And that was one of the tracks that I was hoping iRacing would get scanned, get done, and get into the service, because that track has an insane sense of speed. Those drivers wide open, 9-second lap times out of I-55 Speedway with a 410 World of Outlaws. Man, 9 seconds to do a lap.
The crazy thing is, on iRacing, you know, we run a lot of, and they don't consider it a short track. That's the crazy thing. You know, as we're getting ready to go back green, but they don't consider it a short track in real life. I'd have to look at, I think it's a 3/8 mile or a 1/3 mile. I'd have to double check. But to run around that fast of a racetrack in 9 seconds is absolutely unreal. Track's extremely heavy, rained a lot, so hearing they're having a heck of a race, but we appreciate everybody for hanging out with us as well as watching the World of Outlaw race. I know Chris Roberts is watching all 3. He's watching us, he's watching the World of Outlaw race, and he's watching the World of Outlaw late model race. So a lot of racing going on as we get back to actual racing, as Mark Jessup gets into the fence a little bit. Dustin Griffith's now rolling the bottom. What's going to happen here?
Griffiths to his inside. Yeah, Griffiths has a run off of 2. Jessup sends it in deep on the high side. He's able to do that, so Griffith's going to have to dig hard coming off the corner. Gets a little sideways, but again, they go wheel to wheel at the line. It's Jessup. Now Jessup does a little bit of a block, a little bit of a defensive line trying to get into the corner. Griffiths, though, still right there, as he's going to settle in behind him for the moment.
And as we say that, Alex Oriens up to 5th now stalking Braden Eiler, but it seems like he's just being extremely patient as we start working lap 23. Coming up on 2 to go. Billy Brickley, as long as he keeps his cool, it looks like he's kind of got this thing in the bag. But we hate to give him the announcer curse, so he is not have this in the bag. But we've got a heck of a battle, though, for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And Alex Orion's got loose off the corner big time, so he falls back a little bit into the clutches of John Steed. Currently, right now, Brandon Hughes is your 8th place guy. As we get ready to take the white, we'll watch the battle for the transfer spot here. White flag is out on your B main. Back up to the front of the field. Billy Brickley looks like he's got it in command with Jessup in tow, Dustin Griffiths, Braden Eiler. We'll go back here, and it looks like Brandon Hughes will be your final qualifier. Tyler Street and Billy Bowerman rounds out your field. And ladies and gents, we are getting ready to go for your 75-lap main event. Before we get going here, we're going to take just a real quick commercial break. Big thank you to Epperson Paint and Supply, or Epperson Painting, no supply, PPG Paints as well. But thank you guys for sponsoring the night before the 500, and we will be right back with your main event lineup. Back. Big thank you to Wicked Relief Gum as well. Your starting grid, we'll have to check and see. I don't believe we had any takers, but you've got Dan Smith and Ryan Sellers your front row in those DRR Speedworks. Now I'm going to feel what it's like to be Dave Despain, Larry Rice, all those guys on the Thunder trying to decipher whose car is who. Inside of row number 2, your Heat Race 3 winner, Skylar Brown. John Batista outside of the 2nd row, your 4th Heat Race winner. And then we've got Jeffrey Stanton in the 3rd row, starting in 5th, along with Tommy Corcoran in the 14 machine. James Tiernan starts 7th on the field. Watch for him. And then Mark Broderick on the outside of row number 4 in 8th place. Mason Hannigan in the Black Diamond number 1, he will roll off in 9th. AJ Job starts 10th on the field. Jacob Gordon, son of Eric Gordon, will start 11th. Dallas Breeze in the over-the-wall photography car, he will start in the 12th spot. Chris Springer 13th in the Axis Seed car. Tyson Landis, sponsored by Wicked Cushion, he will be in the 14th spot. Justin Carey rolls off 15th. 16th for Tyler Kendall. Billy Brickley, Mark Jessup, Dustin Griffiths, Braden Eiler, Alex Orions, John Steed, Brad Rigger, and Brandon Hughes did not make the call for some reason. And we are green flag action for 75 laps. It is the Epperson Paint night before 500.
Brandon Hughes did make the call. He is out on track, so maybe just a glitch with your grid there, Billy.
Yeah, it looks to be. So, yeah, we do see him out on the racetrack as we're working lap number 1. Go to press box view here so we can get a little bit broader view of what's going on racing-wise.
Big battles in the mid-pack. Right now, Jacob Gordon in the 41 machine went to the high side and motored right on past the 56 of Chris Springer.
Looks like through the middle of the field. Yeah, we've got a ton of racing. And here's the thing, we hadn't really discussed much. We get a pretty decent-sized green flag run in this. Lap traffic is going to come into play. Mark Broderick gets into the fence just a little bit down the backstretch. But as we look right now, the top 3 cars have all ran laps within the 19-second bracket. So big speeds on the field. John Batista moves around Skylar Brown for 3rd. James Tiernan already up into the 5th spot. So James is on the move, getting ready to poke around the outside there of Skylar. So heck of a run there for James as he's moving towards the front. But here, like we talked about earlier, fuel is going to be a thing. Saving tires is going to be a thing. Something we don't get to see very often in a lot of the races that you call KR on the dirt. So tire wear going to be a big factor as the DRR cars just kind of seem like they're setting in line right now, just kind of waiting. Long
Big
race.
trouble on the front stretch. We got one going up and over, and I believe that is the 41 of Jacob Gordon. He has collected Brad Ringer as well. 2 cars flipping on the front stretch. Make that flip count up to 7.
Yeah, Brand. Oh, just caught up in the moment, and unfortunately, Jacob Gordon upside down. Along with, actually, it looks like Brad Ringer was upside down as well. So we're going to have to see who is left onto the racing surface here. Is Jacob Gordon still rolling around? Once timing and scoring picks back up. Let's see if we can go through the field a little bit. It looks like Brandon Hughes is still out there. Jacob Gordon is still out there. Brad Ringer looks to be shuffling towards the bottom of the order here. Yeah, Brad Ringer currently sitting on pit road, so his night is seemingly over
It's
for
heading
at least
south
the
in a
win.
hurry.
But here we are, 6 laps in to the 75-lap main event. Your current top 10 before they... Actually, it's not going to work because it's still got Jacob in front. But the DRR car is looking mighty strong right now.
Yeah, Dan Smith, Ryan Sellers sitting 1 and 2. 3rd place, John Batista in that 54 machine. Tiernan sitting in 4th. Skylar Brown rounding out your top 5. And then it is Jeffrey the Jet Stanton. Be watching that 15 machine of Jeffrey Stanton to try and make some moves to make his way up into the front. It's going to be hard to keep some of these pavement sprint car ringers, if you will, off the podium.
Yeah, I think that's, really right now, kind of the invader to the series, or invader to the pavement cars is John Batista. Skylar's got a lot of experience in these cars and has been running them a lot more frequently lately. So really your top 6 or 7 are all well-known pavement guys that run a lot of these sprint car races. Mason Hannigan not running a ton of them. Mark Broderick runs them when he can, but John Batista up there running in 3rd. So doing a heck of a job up there.
Heck of a showing for Batista for sure. But lap 6, our first caution of the night. Our flip counter is at 7, and the start of this race has been cars have been just all over the track. The battling has been going on everywhere except for the Dan Smith machine as he is out in front and gets on the throttle. We are back under green. Dan Smith, Ryan Sellers going to try and pull away from the field as they go off into turns 1 and 2. Tiernan going to try and work over Batista for that 3rd spot as they work their way down the back stretch. Dan Smith out in front. Can he hold on and lead all the laps? Can Ryan Sellers figure out a way around that 47 machine?
James Tiernan with a power move around Batista around the top side. James definitely not playing any games. He is not worried about tire strategy at all, it looks like. He's wanting to just get to the front in a hurry. So James Tiernan moves up into the 3 spot.
I do want to point out that the 41 of Jacob Gordon has loaded up. He is done for the night. So early exit for Jacob Gordon. Brad Ringer still sitting on pit road. Hasn't quite called it a night, but not looking good for him so far.
But as we watch your top three right now, John Batista is still kind of hanging on with things. But your top three is trying to, James also very well could be. You hear it a lot in the NASCAR world of guys putting pressure on people to basically use up their equipment just as much as yours is. So, these guys are all pretty smart here. Are we going to see? Oh, is Dan? Oh no. We had some neck. Wow.
Oh,
how in the world did they save that? Looked like we had a little netcode incident there with things flashing, and it looks like Sellers now pulling to the bottom of the racetrack. Big. That's an unfortunate thing. Let's go back and watch that in instant replay real quick so that way we can see exactly what happened. But it looks like there might have been some flashing going on, and it's hard to tell of who's doing what because James went down to the bottom, and I don't think he expected for Sellers to be there. So hopefully Sellers can pick that back up.
Dan Smith had a big wiggle coming off of 4, had to catch it, causing Ryan Sellers to check up as well. Tiernan making evasive moves. All of those 3 drivers were able to sort it out, with the big loser being Ryan Sellers, as he has fallen well down the order and on the pit road.
Tiernan's digging.
Yeah, James Tiernan making a battle for the lead, but as we say that, here comes Batista and as well as Skylar Brown. Really, your third through 6th place guys, they're pretty much just kind of sitting there riding right now, trying to, we're working lap 15 of this, so, I mean, these laps are going to start clicking off pretty quick here.
That it is, and these drivers with a 75-lap feature and the caution flags not counting, they're going to be close on fuel, so they're wanting to get this thing to run green. Otherwise, they're going to have to start coming down pit road and top off the fuel tanks, and that could be a very unique situation for everyone involved, as this pavement sprint car really has never had to come down pit road for fuel in a race.
Yeah, and we're up front watching these guys, but there is a lot of, as they're doing that, I mean, there's a gaggle of cars in the back. Tyler Kendall starting to move through the field up to 12th, one of your B main transfers. Alex Orion's sitting back in 15th right now.
Started 21st.
Yeah, started 21st, so he's moved up some spots. 21st to 15th in the first 18 laps, so he's making moves through the field. Mark Broderick has fallen off a little bit as we see Tyler Kendall doing a little slip and slide, dip and dive there, trying to get around the 82 of Dustin Griffith. So Tyler Kendall is definitely on the move. Dallas Breeze currently in your top 10. But back up front, we've got a battle for the lead.
Yeah, James Tiernan trying to work over Dan Smith. Tiernan poking at him a little bit. Dan Smith running right through the middle. That's going to make it hard for Tiernan to find a gap. Smith closed the door on the outside as they work their way down the backstretch. Tiernan going to try and get a run off of turn number 4, set up the pass as he heads off into turn number 1.
As we're about a third of the way through the race. Here's your current top 10 as they run right now. Tiernan, Springer, and Kendall all as we, oh boy, we're getting feisty up front. Jeffrey Stanton going super low on the racetrack into turn 1. Battle right now is for 3rd.
Batista backed out of that one. He didn't want anything to do with Skylar Brown on his outside. That's going to cost him 2 spots as Jeffrey Stanton motors right on by, puts Stanton into 4th. Batista losing 2 spots, 1 lap. He's going to settle into 5th place, but not a bad decision there by the 54 machine to just kind of back up and find a spot to ride around.
Well, yeah, it's a long race. We're getting ready to get up onto a 3rd, and really the top 6 right now completely broken away from the field. So they're about a 10th of a lap faster than your 7th and 8th place cars of Chris Springer and AJ Joe. So they're really just trying to hang on here as we've got a battle for the lead. Tiernan around the outside taking over the lead from Dan Smith. So what is he going to do now?
Tiernan took the lead. High side pass through 3 and 4. Dan Smith settling into second place. Jeffrey Stanton closing in on Skylar Brown. Brown closing in on Smith. Our top 4 all running very close to each other. Jeffrey Stanton 0.7 seconds off the race lead.
James Tiernan. James starting to pull away, it would appear, but, you know, like we'd said, we're a third of the way into this race. Dan Smith is one of probably the smartest pavement sprint car drivers on the sim, if not the smartest. He knows these cars like the back of his hand, so, you know, he may be saying, all right, James, if you want to go lead this thing, go ahead. Get out front, wear your stuff out. I'm going to hang right here and let you come back to me. So, you know, long way to go in this deal. Long way to go. But
yeah, Dan could be just riding around, setting his own pace. James Tiernan, though, no slouch in these cars as he is out in front. We'll see how that plays out as we get into this race. A little bit deeper on, we'll see some more comers and goers.
Yeah, AJ Job and Chris Springer having a heck of a race back here for 7th and 8th. They're currently about 6.5 seconds behind the lead pack, but having an absolutely whale of a race. Chris Springer on the bottom, AJ on the top. But going back, yeah, Mason,
go ahead, Billy.
Mason running really tough right now too. Good to see a dirt guy, some of the dirt guys up front here, inside of your top 10.
Hannigan battling with Kendall. That's a battle for 9th and 10th spot. Tyler Kendall to the outside, but Hannigan going to kind of close the door, left a little bit of room, but Kendall didn't trust that, so he backed out. He's going to try that high side once again. Kendall with the run. He's going to dive down to the inside, go wheel to wheel with Mason Hannigan, and drive in deep into turn number 1.
Tyler Kendall now running real deep down on the flat. You can see the car make the transition from the flat to the top side of the racetrack. Oh, as Tyler Kendall gets extremely loose. Oh, boy. Do we got trouble here. Tyler Kendall somehow hangs onto it after getting extremely loose. That'll shuffle him back into the 12th spot. As we go back up front, James Tiernan starting to pull away. Your battle now for 2nd. Skylar Brown not wanting to let the leader get too far ahead, but again, 33 laps in. We got a long way to go. We're not even halfway yet.
Do want to check in a little bit deeper into the field right now in 19th place. That is the 07 of John Steed. Him and Brandon Hughes have been battling each other for this spot for several laps. John Steed finally coming out on top. But, man, they have been going at it as if they were fighting for first place.
Yeah, and Alex, checking in on Alex Orions, sitting back in 16th spot right now. So not making the progress we thought he might be. You know, again, he might be in the same boat as a lot of other guys, just kind of maybe riding, saving your stuff. This battle that we've got here, Mason Hannigan, Dallas Breeze, and it looks like AJ Job has fallen into
one up and over. Tyler Kendall in the catch fence.
Oh, boy.
Tyler Kendall stuck in that catch fence, and it looked like, I believe, Mark Broderick also getting a piece of that action.
We'll go here to instant replay as we watch him come down the backstretch. Yeah, and it looks like two guys just met in the absolute middle, and Kendall goes for a ride, and along with Mark Broderick. So two guys that were running in the mid-pack of the field now having to go towards the rear. Tyler Kendall on pit road, unfortunately, as he is not able to tow, or as he has to tow, excuse me. So that changes a lot of things on the race right now. 36 laps in. But James Tiernan, your leader, Dan Smith, followed by Skylar Brown, Jeffrey Stanton, Tommy Corcoran III rounds out your top 5. And while we're under yellow, we'll just take this moment to really also drive home too as well. UDSS, the United Dirt Sim Series, they've put up $50 for the highest finishing average between tonight and tomorrow. So really, three guys that are really in contention for that: James Tiernan, Skylar Brown, and Tommy Corcoran III. All three of those are actually entered into the starting field tomorrow for the Wicked Relief Fake 500. So a good run here and a good run tomorrow could mean another $50 in your pocket. So it's going to be important for these guys to stay out front in that deal as well. Maddie, Fake 500, green flag will wave at 6 p.m. Pre-race will start right at about 5 o'clock. We got a lot of things to cover. Baden's been working on some really cool stuff that we think you guys are going to enjoy, and we've got all the festivities and fanfare that you know to expect from the Big Track 500 back home again in Indiana, taps, the whole bit. So it's going to be a fun time, and special guest Jack Hewitt will be announcing the start of the Gentlemen Start Your Engines. So we'll be talking with Jack Hewitt a little bit tomorrow, which I'm super excited about.
Yeah, Billy, we were talking about that, and I was fortunate enough, even though I'm in Missouri, I had relocated to Detroit, Michigan for a couple of years and got to go racing in Ohio. My dad had enough of sitting around up in Detroit. We rolled down to, I believe it's called Atomic now. I could be wrong, but at the time it was Buckeye Speedway, and we also went to Attica, and Jack Hewitt was at Attica that night, won the race, but he did it in a roundabout way, went off the track, never lifted off of turn number 1, had the lead when he rejoined the racing surface going into 3.
Paula says, hopefully Jack doesn't get you banned from Twitch. You know what? If my Twitch career had to come to an end because I got to talk to Jack Hewitt, we've had a good run, folks. If that's how it's got to end, that's how it's got to end. Totally worth it. Totally worth it.
And Stewart checking in on Twitch as well, letting me know Atomic Buckeye KC Raceway.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
A lot of good improvements out of the Atomic Speedway now. So a lot different than what it's been in the past. As we're getting ready to go back to green, here we are. We were getting ready to get into lap traffic in a few laps, so things were really going to start getting interesting. If we get another long green flag run, it's going to be rather interesting to see what happens here. In traffic, and actually as these tires have cooled off, it's going to be interesting to see too if Dan Smith can keep pace with Tiernan as we go back to green flag action. James Tiernan starting to pull away there, gets a good start. Jeffrey Stanton down on the bottom, down on the flat. He makes these cars work in very, very different lines than what a lot of other guys do. But you see down there, running the bottom gets him now under fire from Mr. Tommy Corcoran.
Corcoran to his inside, but Stanton's going to roll that high side, use the momentum to his advantage, holds on to 4th place for the moment as Skylar Brown begins to try and work over Dan Smith in that 47 machine. Under that caution, we did have a few cars come down pit road, one of those being John Steed, and he was on pit lane long enough. John Steed has taken on some fuel. We'll see if that was the right move to make, as this could see some drivers run out of fuel.
Yeah, and we knew it was going to be tight when we did the 75 laps, and I talked to enough people, and they said, yes, you can make it. 75 laps is definitely doable, but you're really going to have to watch the fuel and know where your fuel number is. In iRacing, if you're not familiar with it, you do have the ability to look at your fuel. It will not give you an exact amount of laps you have left, but it will tell you how much fuel is in it. A little bit unrealistic from the sprint car side of things because you just never know. But in this situation, it's going to make for, I think, a little bit better race as we start working lap number 40. Actually, lap number 41, excuse me. This time
Attrition is really starting to rear its head as we're past the halfway point now. We started 24 cars, and only 18 are still out on track. Dustin Griffiths in the 82, our most recent driver to pull into pit lane. So several drivers going to go home disappointed, but, man, I've just been glad to make the A of this event. What a stellar field this is.
As Tiernan now and Dan Smith starting to break away a little bit. Skyler may be looking at that fuel number and going, you know what? Not worth it. Not worth it. But Jeffrey Stanton putting a lot of pressure on him. And it looks like we got another yellow.
Caution flag coming out. Mark Jessup involved in the 14J. Several other cars included. John Steed, I think, got a piece of that as well.
Let's go back and see an instant replay here of what may have occurred. Oh, okay. So will be Mark Jessup underneath of Justin Carey just a little bit, slides up just enough and taps. Oh, and we've got a big old melee. That got Justin Carey, John Steed, who did pit for fuel earlier. I did see another car. Was that Orions?
No, Orions was able to squeeze through. It looked like Ryan Sellers getting a piece of that as well. So some heavy competition getting caught up in some issues back here.
Yeah, Ryan Sellers not.
Justin Carey in the 42 was involved. I think you mentioned him though.
Yeah, Ryan
Nothing like
Sellers.
Pete and repeat. Have you ever met my brother, Pete?
Hey, you know we're obviously professionals at this.
Obviously,
we are absolutely professionals. But big thanks to everybody for coming on out tonight. We do appreciate it. I know there's a lot of other racing going on, and appreciate you guys coming and watching this. It's been a really fun race, good race so far. A lot of drama coming up. So if we have another finish like we had last night, I will be tickled pink. I don't know if I see that happening. But it's
am
possible.
sad to say that Alex Orions, my buddy, he's on pit road in what looks to be a race-ending period of time, sitting on pit road.
Unfortunate circumstances for your C main winner, along with the B main transfer to get himself into the field. He was running right around the 15th, 16th position. So an unfortunate set of circumstances there. Is the pace truck still onto the field? See how this shakes out once timing and scoring updates here. Looks to be James Tiernan still, Dan Smith, Skylar Brown, Jeffrey Stanton, Tommy Corcoran, John Batista falling back behind him, Chris Springer, and Anthony Job. So that will be your top 8, it looks like. Mason Hannigan, Dallas Breeze, and Braden Eiler rounding out your top 10.
So while we have a moment under caution here, Billy, the Turn 3 Racing Network putting out some bonus money to a random finishing position. Although we know what spot it is, so it's not random, but it was picked at random, I think. So I'm looking forward to being able to give that bonus money away on behalf of the Turn 3 Racing Network. But, you know, we're doing this to fill the void that the month of May, with everything that's going on, how it came down. And, man, this race is living up to the hype as we get ready to go green flag racing once again. That Ford butt stain getting out of the way. James Tiernan in control of the field. Dan Smith going to have to figure out something as the laps are winding down. Tiernan picks up the throttle, and we are back underway here at IRP as the sun has set. The lights are on, and the racing is getting hotter than ever as the battle for 5th place really picks up. We got several drivers.
Oh, big crash. Big crash down the back straightaway. Looks like Anthony Job getting part of it. We will go and get an instant. Oh, yeah, we had a big mess. As
Mark Jessup ending up upside down. That's going to be flip count number 9.
Off of turn number 2, Springer and AJ get involved with get Mason Hannigan involved. Big time crash there, as we will see if we can. Braden Eiler also involved. So let's go see from his vantage point what happened here. Cars get tangled up, and it's just no luck at all for Mr. Eiler or Mason Hannigan. No fault of their own, just involved in a wreck that is so unfortunate. There is battle of attrition now starting to rear its ugly head as we are 44 laps into the main event, the Epperson painting night before the 500. Got about right around 30 to go. When we stay green, this has been a pretty darn good race, if I must say so. Very, very impressed with how the lead pack is running. I hope we run the next 30 laps out so we can potentially see some lap traffic and shake things up a little bit.
Yeah, a lot of drivers getting involved in one situation or another here. Over half the field has come down pit road, either for fuel or one reason or another. And with iRacing timing and scoring being all sorts of jumbled up, as these caution laps don't count, it makes it a little bit hard to see who is where and doing what. But man, that last caution that we've had, several drivers getting taken out in that one. Well, I was hoping, Billy, that we could talk to my buddy Alex, but it looks like he has decided to pack up and leave without a word of anything. I was wondering how it was going on for him at the back of the pack, but looks like a frustrating night for Alex. Don't call me Oreo Oriens. However, it has been smooth sailing for these drivers at the front. James Tiernan, Dan Smith, Skylar Brown, and Jeffrey the Jet Stanton right now sitting in your top four, with fifth place going to Tommy Corcoran. John Batista started up front, has only lost a few spots. Still putting on a heck of a show for somebody new to this car.
Yeah, it's
the light.
Looks like we've got
out again.
Looks like we've got 15 cars still on the racetrack as of right now. 16. Tyler Kendall's pulled back out. It would appear. So he is currently 3 laps down.
He is 9 laps down, 3 laps behind Dustin Griffith.
Aha, there we go. See, one of these days when my professional wisdom, I'll know how to use timing and scoring correctly. But as we get ready to go back to green flag action here, James Tiernan, the Dirt Track Terror,
Green
taking
flag.
the green flag once again. Working lap 45 now, so 30 laps to go in the Epperson paint, night before the 500. Jeffrey Stanton makes a big run down on the apron. But is that going to get Tommy Corcoran a good enough run to get around him on the outside? It is. And that one move just sent him back 2 spots potentially, as John Batista now rounding around the outside.
Yes, Jeffrey Stanton going to lose a few spots there. He's going to get into line following the tire tracks of Batista. He's going to have to gather himself back up and try and gain that lost ground. But James Tiernan in the 98 out in front. Dan Smith solidly in second, with Skylar Brown in that 71 machine rounding out your final step of the podium. And Billy, this pavement sprint car has reached out, touched a few of these guys, but the top 4, 5, 6, 7 cars have been putting on a heck of a show, and they are all out to try and win this thing.
Yeah, it's going to get close. Dan Smith is really starting to put some pressure on the tail tank of Tiernan as he goes to the bottom. Oh, boy, Dan Smith with a nice save. Almost getting into the left rear of James Tiernan and Skylar Brown, but what a save.
Yeah, Dan Smith really had to get up on the wheel to rein that sprint car back in, but gathers it up, only losing 1 spot, as Skylar Brown in the 10 has decided it is go time, as he is closed up quickly to the back bumper of the 98 of Tiernan, Smith taking a peek to the inside, not able to get the run he needed off of turn number 4. But while that is all going on, it has really closed up this front group. Jeffrey Stanton in 6th place. Going to get in the wall a little bit, but again, you know, the battle at the front here, they're running nose to tail right now, but you could hardly fit a piece of paper between them at times.
Well, and we were talking about him earlier of how good he was doing, but look at John Batista now coming back through the field up into the top 5 spot, trying to get 4th from Tommy Corcoran. So John Batista, was he saving his stuff early just so he had something towards the end? Oh, and then Skylar Brown is really starting to come after Tiernan.
Yeah, Skylar and James Tiernan, 2 very accomplished drivers. Dan Smith, no slouches. Tiernan's going to get in the wall. He's going to go up and over your race leader, finding the flip counter, and he is on the wrong end of it.
We will go back and watch that in instant replay. What actually happened here for Tiernan, as we'll watch him come off at turn number 2. And I don't know if the car snapped and he just got loose. And again, you know, 50 laps on tires. That's exactly what happened. A little bit, you saw that little wiggle back out to the wall. Man, oh man. Heartbreaker for James Tiernan.
That really started as he was coming off of turn 2, putting the power down. He had that wiggle off of 2. Fought that thing all the way down the back stretch, caught the outside wall, and that is what launched him up into the fence and then back down onto the track.
Very, 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 as Chad is saying, extremely rare mistake out of James Tiernan. Usually cold as ice in these races. Unfortunately, that hands over first place to Mr. Skylar Brown. So Skylar Brown, Dan Smith, and John Batista now sitting in the 3rd spot. Tommy Corcoran, Jeff Stanton. Dallas Breeze moved himself up into the 6th spot. Mark Broderick, who had trouble early in the race, in 7th. Tyson Landis and Chris Springer now in your top 10. So the whole complexion of this race just changed big time.
That it did, and Billy, I said it before all the racing action happened, this car will jump up and bite even the most accomplished drivers. James Tiernan just found out how hard this car can bite you.
Yeah, absolutely unreal. I wouldn't have expected that, but here we are, 52 laps in. Skylar Brown now your leader. Dan Smith. This is going to come down to the wire for sure. I'm sure Dan still has some in the reserve tank. Skylar Brown, extremely fast in these cars, but don't count out Batista yet either. Batista ran, 7th or 8th or 9th through a lot of this race once he got shuffled back, saving his tires. Tires in these are extremely important. Yeah, another good point by Rapala. Dallas Breeze just kind of been hanging around, doing his thing, not really making a lot of waves, but he's just sitting right outside the top 5 right now. So a lot of runs from deep in the field from these guys.
Mark Broderick in the 51, who had found trouble earlier in this race, he's sitting in 8th place. That attrition toll really taking its effect. We have 13 cars, make that 12 cars on the lead lap. And most of these guys are not on the lead lap because of issues. We have not had to deal with lap traffic from the leaders yet. So if we can, I want to go ahead and take this moment to talk to Mr. James Tiernan. James, that 98 machine was bad fast as we get ready to go back green flag race, and tell us a little bit about what happened out there.
Well, I like your car. That's pretty crazy loose and all that, and it just seemed to kind of bite me in this moment. It just snapped loose in a really weird way that it hadn't been doing all night. Kind of caught me off guard on entry, and you guys saw the result. Car was really good. I was looking at fuel. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think if these people don't pit,
We got more trouble. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt, James, but Dan Smith has found trouble coming off of turn number 2.
Dan Smith, oh boy, same, really almost the same thing that happened to James there a little bit. Batista went around him on the outside and got a little too much throttle and into the wall, and that takes out. Oh
Corcoran.
Boy,
Jeffrey Stanton got involved. Big stack up at the back of the field. Looks like Mason Hannigan. Hughes getting a piece of it.
Oh boy, that's that again. Here though, there's two mistakes out of 2 veteran drivers in these cars in the last 3 laps. Wow.
Yeah, the track's certainly doing some funky stuff at the moment. Just seems that on the entrance to corners, there's no grip at the moment, which is might be because the fuel level's so low. We usually don't race this long, and I think the fuel tank likes to have a little bit more in it for these kind of setups. So it'll be interesting to see who can make it, because from what I was looking at, I needed to pit before the end, so I was kind of trying to save it. That's why Skylar and Dan started to try to catch me, and then I tried to step on it, and that's when I lost it. So I don't think they can make it.
As we've been sitting here watching it, track temp keeps on falling, so that's another thing to consider too with these cars changing. We knew when we were doing this that you could make it 75 laps. It was going to be just very, very close on how much you could conserve fuel, what you were going to do with gearing and things like that. So, with the 3 leaders that we've had today that have all fallen out, Skylar Brown now just sitting in the catbird seat. But we hate that happened to you, James. But there's always the big show tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. That's part of racing. You're going to make mistakes, and now it's up to me to learn from it and kind of go on from here. Hopefully tomorrow can make up for that little mistake, and hopefully bring home the big fake 500. Looking forward to it. A lot of work's been put into the list, a lot of effort by all the teams and everyone in it. So it'll be interesting to see who's got what for that race.
It will. And James, doing the broadcast on Turn 3 Racing Network Wednesday night, simulcast here for this one. Discord dropped out before you can mention your sponsor. So before it drops out on you again, why don't you give a shout out to those who helped get you out there tonight?
Absolutely. So first of all, first and foremost, I'd like to thank Ergot Real Estate, the Racers Real Estate. He's the guy to go to find properties that, may include stuff for racers. So he's a really cool guy to work with, and I really appreciate him coming on board with us. Also like to thank Fairway Mortgage, Over the Wall Photography, Anderson Speedway. They run the Little 500. You guys have been talking about that a lot, so they've come on as a sponsor. Also like Jessup Logistics. So Mark Jessup, he's in the race. He sponsors us as well. He has a trucking company. Am I forgetting anything? Oh, Catch Fence Apparel. So they've been doing a lot of stuff with the Dirt on Dirt people. And
all right, James.
Yeah, good.
Man, I appreciate it, and nice job out there tonight. It was exciting to watch. Better luck next time.
Yep. Thanks for having me in the booth, guys.
Yep, that is James Tiernan from the 98 machine. Led a bunch of laps, but not his night. The 54, John Batista, was running down on the apron trying to save as much fuel as he could. I don't know if you picked up on that, Billy, but we're getting ready to go green flag racing. Skylar Brown in the 71 out in front. Batista giving chase. Fuel load's getting light. These cars are going to start hooking hard on the straightaways. These drivers have got to be very, very careful on the throttle. And that memo does not appear to have been given to the 71 and the 54s. This battle for the race lead really starts to heat up here in the closing laps of this race. We're looking at 21 to go.
Yeah, 21 to go. Batista all over the back of Skylar. But again, we're going to be running into the portion of the program where, like James was saying, fuel is going to be coming into a factor. So, and like James said, like James said, we may be seeing these light fuel tanks because you run this car on the service. You run this car on the service at max fuel all the time. So you don't rarely ever get the car down this low on fuel. So it's going to be a very interesting piece to see who
Batista
can make it and
to
who
the
doesn't.
inside. They almost get together. Didn't mean to interrupt you there, but man, that really caught my attention as Batista down to the inside for the race lead. Who's going to be brave going into 3? Skylar Brown sends it in deep, but Jeffrey Stanton sent it in deeper.
Heck of a battle up front as we're coming up on 15 to go, lap 58. Skylar Brown or John Batista has to check out of the throttle real quick. Jeffrey Stanton now getting into the clutches of the top 3, or the top 2, I should say. But Dallas Breeze just kind of sitting back, lurking. Is he looking at fuel going, I don't know if these guys are going to make it, like Tiernan was saying.
His lap times not showing that he's too worried about it. He is laying down some quick ones faster than our leaders that time around. So he is trying to close in, but Jeffrey Stanton has moved into second place. John Batista falling to third. What does Jeffrey the Jet Stanton have in store? How much fuel do these guys have left? This is a lot like the NASCAR. We don't know how much fuel is in these things. All you can do is just take a guess. And I'm telling you, I'm with James on this one. I said it at the beginning. If we have too many cautions, they will not be able to make it. So who has had the best strategy? Who has held something back to have a little bit of fuel left in the tank? Who's going to be the first one to have to hit pit road?
Yeah, and I don't know if, the way that these cars are equipped, it's just, I don't know if it's going to come, it's definitely going to come down to fueling. We knew that going into it. Are we going to see, a rider until you're going to be able to go on fuel? James said he didn't think he was going to be able to make it running the pace that he is. But we've seen them drop down to the 20.3s. Jeffrey Stanton's still in the 20.6s, but everybody else is dropping down to the 4s and 5s. So this is going to be, we hate to see it, but it's going to come down to a fuel mileage race, I think, with the amount of yellows that we've had within the field. So the top 3 the top 3 have broken away. Mark Broderick and Dallas Breeze back there racing with each other as we're getting ready to come up on 10 to go, guys.
Not only is fuel going to be an issue, but who's going to try and make it without taking tires? This car, the way they pit it, front tires go on, back tires go on. Somebody might try and put 2 front tires on this thing. The right front really takes a pounding here at IRP in these pavement sprint cars. You can abuse that right front a lot quicker than you can abuse the right rear. So we might see somebody try and take fuel and tires if we get a caution.
Yeah, I think the caution is going to be the big thing. If we get another one, I don't know if you can take the risk of staying out. But man, it's going to be close. It's going to be really close. Skylar Brown, you can tell, definitely not on the throttle as much, but still running right around 20.3, 20.4s. They're all slowing down to that as Mark Broderick takes over the 4th spot away from Dallas Breeze. So Mark Broderick kind of has something to prove here as well. So he's marching through the field again from coming from the back from an earlier incident.
Started 24 cars, 14 of them still out on track. Of those 14, we have 10 on the lead lap. John Steed cracking that top 10 in that 7 machine. He has been battling tooth and nail throughout the entire month of May events that the fake 500 Wicked Relief gum has been putting on. John Steed in the top 10. If he can bring this home, he is going to be ecstatic with that finish.
Oh, absolutely. And I think we're getting ready to start seeing some hot and heavy movement. Earlier in the race, or all race really, Jeffrey Stanton's been running the bottom of the racetrack down on the apron, trying to almost throw a slide job on these guys to try to get around him. It's cost him a few spots before, but now he's back into it as we got 6 to go, working on getting into the 5 to go range. Jeff Stanton, you can see, starting to back off a little bit earlier, getting a good run off the corner. Fuel getting extremely light in these things.
Laps are winding down. Jeffrey Stanton, if he wants to win this thing, he's going to have to figure out how to deal with Skylar Brown. Skylar Brown putting that car right in the middle of the corner. taking up all the room he can in that 71 machine. Our top 3 drivers have pulled away. They have a 2.5 second lead over the 51 of Mark Broderick, sitting in 4th place. 5th going to Dallas Breeze. Do one of these drivers back here have something that could surprise us and come away with the win? But man, Skylar Brown, Jeffrey Stanton, John Batista, I hate to take my eyes off them because these 3 are running nose to tail. I'm not sure I would want to be out in that situation that these guys are in right now. That is a nail biter for sure.
Oh, absolutely, especially with as light as these cars are on fuel, with the way that the throttle response is on these. You can spin the car out super quick. As there, Jeff gets a little bit free off the corner, trying to make a move under Skylar as we're working 2 to go, gets into the back of Skylar a little bit. That gives John Batista the move up around the outside. As there goes Stanton to the bottom again. Looks like John Batista now sitting in the catbird seat. Can he go get it as the white flag is out?
Final time around here at IRP. Skylar Brown down the backstretch for the final time. Hate to see a fuel hiccup, but the 71 machine, checkered flag in the air off of turn number 4. Skylar Brown gonna bring it home. Batista second, and Jeffrey the Jet Stanton gonna put it into the final step of the podium. Holy cow, Billy. What a night before the 500.
What a race. What a race. That was, I think that was a pretty darn good showing there. Enjoyed that race. That was a lot of fun to watch. Heck of a job there to Mr. Skylar Brown. He did a fantastic job. Looks like he's even got enough fuel to do a couple of donuts there in the pavement car. So good job for Skylar Brown, as we will do our best to... Is he in the booth? He is not. So naturally, Skylar Brown, one of those guys that won't get in Discord. Let's see if we can get a hold of him here quickly.
I know Jeffrey the Jet Stanton is in Discord.
Well, let's go ahead and get Jeffrey Stanton, our 3rd place. There's Skylar Brown. But let's talk to 3rd place first.
Jeffrey Stanton, this is KR and Billy up in the broadcast booth. You got your ears on, buddy?
I do. On a second here. Race Saber's still going on. Copy.
All right, Jeffrey Stanton, as you unstrap yourself from an epic battle out on the IRP Speedway, you bring it home in 3rd place here tonight. Tell us a little bit about that battle. 75 laps in the pavement sprint car.
Wild. My right front just got a tad bit too hot. Just about 5 to go. It just started getting a little bit tight on me. I'd be loose off. I didn't realize how low fuel we were actually on. It was, I had like maybe just enough to cross the start finish line.
Fuel becoming an issue, and it looked like as the fuel load burned off, these cars were catching drivers out. We saw it catch out the 98 James Tiernan. Looked like maybe it caught out 47 of Dan Smith. What was it like in those last few laps as that back end did not have the weight that it needed for the horsepower of these machines?
Honestly, it was wild, especially for me because my pedal range isn't 100% because I have issues with sticking on top and chipping out on the top and sticking on the bottom. So I have like even less of a pedal than most people do. So it gets pretty sketchy.
Well, Jeffrey, congratulations on 3rd place here tonight. And this race has been simulcasted not only to all the social media channels that Billy mediates, Tuna Can 79 on YouTube, Elbows Up, well, Billy, all the channels, I can't remember them all now.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them.
Turn 3 came in and said, hey, we want to throw some bonus money at our 3rd place finisher. So Jeffrey, the Jet Stanton, 3rd place, picking up $100 bonus money, courtesy of the Turn 3 Racing Network.
I'm speechless. Oh my God. Thank you guys. thank you guys for hosting this race. Thank you, Epperson Painting, for sponsoring this race, and everyone that's sponsoring the fake 500. And thank you guys. Oh my God.
heck of a run. We're glad to hopefully you had a good time running it. It was a lot of fun to watch, a lot of attrition, but it was still a lot of fun to watch, and had a great job, buddy.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Thank you guys for hosting this.
Jeffrey the Jet Stanton bringing it home in third place, and Billy, the recipient of that unknown, unannounced where it would end up, third place, getting that extra $100 bonus money from the Turn 3 Racing Network.
Well, let's big thanks to you guys for doing that. It's big thanks to you guys for doing that. I know it was cool to see the reaction like we talked about. So we'll go ahead and get John Batista in here. John Batista, the fast food man. Good run there up to second, man, for not too bad for a dirt guy.
Yeah, no shit. I used to run these cars a lot about 6 or 7 years ago, weekly almost, but I've probably ran it maybe 3 or 4 times on the new tire model, and it's definitely way different than anything before.
Yeah, and we saw early you were up in the top 3 and putting some pressure on, and then started to kind of fall back. Was that part of the game plan of just moving back, a little bit, saving your equipment, saving your tires? And
Absolutely not.
I love the honesty.
I was asshole tight the whole time. Way tight. The car was pretty good during the day in qualifying, the heat, all that fun stuff. But man, once the lights turned on, I was so tight I could not cut the middle at all. I was holding up Skylar there for a pretty good while at the beginning of the race, and eventually he was just on me so much I didn't want to jeopardize my race or his race, so I just let them all by. And then I figured out a new line about halfway through, and from there I think I was moving pretty good, and I wish I had about 5 more laps at the end of that race. I think my tires were a little bit better, not by, I didn't mean to have better tires. I was just running a very bad line in the beginning of the race, and I think I just managed to have a little bit better than Skylar. I'm not sure about Jeffrey. I think I just heard him say that he had, or he didn't have full throttle range or whatever, so that probably definitely hindered him, but yeah, that was a rough one for sure.
How we talked to James there after his incident, and he said that he was really worried about fuel. Did you ever take a peek at it? How close were you to running out?
Yeah, my dumb ass didn't check the fuel usage before the race. And I had no idea what fuel usage was here, so I just put 23 in the whole night, which I think is what you're supposed to do in this car. But I put it in and let her fly. At the end, I think there was 12 laps to go or something, and I saw I had 5 gallons left. So I panicked a little bit, and I think it was the last restart. I started running the inside lip, I guess you can call it, at the in that last restart just to save a little fuel. And I think I saved enough. I had a gallon left. But I guess those guys were saying they crossed the line with 0.1, 0.2. Jeffrey was sputtering crossing the line, so
we knew it was going to be close, depending on yellows. So I'm glad everybody made it through, and glad it made it through. But heck of a job there, man. It was cool to see a dirt guy run second on the pavement the night before the 500 by Epperson Paint. So
yeah, I usually run like garbage in these big events, so I'm glad I could finally show I'm not a complete scrub lord like I am on every Monday night. So
hey, I'm a scrub lord right along with you. So we hold up.
At least you guys are there.
We hold up the back proudly, Batista. We hold up the back proud. But I'm sure you got some sponsors on that thing you need to thank, and we'll let you get out of here. Yeah,
just friends at Black Diamond Motorsports, Brett at Ultimate Dirt TV, Jason Brody, Drew Neal at 19 Designs, Absolute Automation Security. Who else do we got? You guys at Elbows Up Some Sport for putting this whole thing on. Fortunately, I really don't have much interest in big track racing like the Indy 500 and all that jazz. But, this was a lot of fun. This was the race I was looking forward to all week. I put a ton of laps in here, and I enjoyed myself. Long event, but I do like the long events once in a while, so thank you guys for that. KR, thanks for your broadcast every week, man. I really enjoy it. and Epperson Painting for putting this thing on for us, and Wicked Relief Gum.
Well, that is your second place finisher, Mr. John Batista. We'll let him get out of here and do a little bit of celebrating. But
boy, was he not challenged? Was he not channeling Jack Hewitt, our Grand Marshal, for tomorrow?
I feel it. I feel it. And speaking of that, the man of the hour, Mr. Skylar Brown, picks up the win in the Epperson Paint night before the 500. You got to be feeling pretty solid there, pal.
I'm feeling solid, but I'll feel real solid once I take a little trek down to the liquor store here and pound about 6 beers.
I was gonna say, I figured you'd probably be already celebrating. So heck of a run there. It was you were fast all night, and what went through your head when you were running behind Tiernan and saw him catch the wall off of 2?
Oh, well, I noticed he had slowed down after that restart, and I was really pulling him. It's like he dropped a cylinder. I know you can't do that in this game, but it was just weird. He got real slow there, and then he just went in the wall, and I'm like, let's go. I got a chance because he's fast here, and I just got lucky with that one. I don't know if he car wore out there, but I ran some low pressures, and I was just waiting, just trying to stay with him and keep him at my grasp. And once we got about 25, 30 to go, it was time to roll.
Yeah, you were definitely flying out there tonight. It was had a good heat race, good qualifying run, put yourself up front in the A, and yeah, you are the inaugural night before the 500 winner. So big congrats to you, and I'm sure you got some people to thank.
Oh yeah, for sure. Just you guys for this on. It's been awesome ever since it started last weekend. It's been a great time. I'm really enjoying it. Glad I could get a win. That was hard, man. I mean, I'm sweating. I was shaking. I had freaking beads of sweat rolling in my eyes. I'm wiping my eyes. I'm going down the straightaway. That was tough. So tomorrow will be fun. I'll be practicing tonight after this. So I'm ready.
Well, you are in prime spot for the $50 UDSS bonus. They've put up $50 to the highest finisher tonight, or the highest finisher in tonight and tomorrow, the best average. So you're kind of sitting in the catbird seat to pick up that bonus along with the winner's check tonight. So as long as you have a good night tomorrow, you should be in pretty solid shape, some cash wise, buddy.
Yeah, it's gonna be different. It's gonna be a long race, 500 miles, 200 laps. Kind of a dirt, guys, so that's a lot, but we'll get it done.
Well, good luck tomorrow, Skylar. I'm sure we'll be talking to you possibly during pre-race tomorrow, but good job, and thank you for coming. We really appreciate it. You put on a hell of a show.
Yep, thank you, guys.
Well, what a night, guys. What a night.
Man, oh man, Billy, what a night it was for sure.
We, didn't really know what to expect coming into this. It was more of a more of an unknown type of thing. So, expectations were high on seeing what was going to happen. Just a lot of fun. I really think that everybody, had a good time doing it. The race was, I thought, phenomenal. Baden took a nap halfway through, I'm fairly sure. Or he's probably been video editing for tomorrow. So, but heck of a race, and really can't wait for tomorrow now.
Oh man, I'm looking forward to tomorrow. And Billy, I said it in jest. This is the best thing that's happened that iRacing doesn't know about. But man, to be a part of it, to see everything go down, I've said it the entire time that this has been going on. This is how iRacing should set up the month of May, and we still have our fake 500 to go tomorrow, being broadcasted by you, simulcasted to Turn 3 Racing Network. It is going to be a stellar closing to all these events you've been putting on.
Well, again, none of this would be possible without all the sponsors that we have. Epperson Paint came on board. Bobby Smith, sprint car guy, so Epperson Paints came on board to be the title sponsor of the night before the 500, and we cannot thank them enough. So if you guys are in the Indianapolis area, please reach out to Epperson Paints. Supports racing, fantastic family. Just all around good racers. But Matt over at Wicked Cushion, Wicked Relief Gum, Wicked Energy Gum does so much for racing, real life and on the sim. So big shout out to him. Crescent Donuts for sponsoring last night. So if you guys are down in Bloomington for the sprint car races coming up in a few weeks, be sure to go in and stop and say hi to those guys there at Crescent Donut. They work so hard to make those work, especially in the tough times that we've got right now with the COVID stuff and the shutdowns, and things are starting to come back. We got real racing on TV now. We still got iRacing. But just there's so many sponsors to thank, and just really, really appreciate everybody for coming out and really enjoying themselves. And the racers have been pretty fantastic this week. Last night was a great show. Tonight was another good show. I think tomorrow we're going to see more of the same. So big thank you to everybody that's come out, everybody that's watched this, shared the streams, and man, can't wait for tomorrow. 5 o'clock Eastern, we'll be back with myself and KR and Baden. Zane just hopped into the booth. Any final thoughts of the stream, Zane?
Nope. Tune in tomorrow.
Short and sweet. I like it.
Short and sweet. Zane is ready for bed. So with that, I am Billy, KR, and Baden is all in the house, and we will see you guys all tomorrow, 5 p.m. Don't be late. You won't want to miss the pre-race show. A lot of cool stuff coming up. So we will see you then. You guys have a good night. Congratulations, Skylar Brown, your Epperson paint. Night before the 5